But I wanted to do hood rat stuff for my friend.
Hanging from a thread till you dead, cause your partner put a price on your head. Cause your chick was laying up in his bed. She getting details, spilling every word that you said. She working retail, thirsty bitch just trying to get ahead. If history tell us anything, y'all both end up dead. It's just a street tale of fable, some shit someone said. Sit at the table and hope there's more to offer than bread. Pulled out the cradle, first steps you getting chased by a fed. No head starts, just body parts and lead sparks. Old religion, brand new hate and weak hearts. Oligarchs, krakens, dragons, you see sharks. Imagine you could manage to maneuver the deep parts. You a savage, you can have it, just show all your teeth sharp. If you could grab it, you could stab it, just aim for the bleeding heart. The ones that show compassion, the soldier that seeks art. Does the artist that wage war take over or take part? Taking a knee, thinking no one faithful is me. I'm good people in bad lands, no evil live within me. I mind mine, I'll survive, find this lands for the free. If I'm mistaken, I'm forsaken, no one rescuing me. Residual effects, straight bullets through familiar necks. For any number of infractions that I deem disrespect. Your beliefs, you deserve better, but we both in the shit. You just haven't come to grips with it yet. Fight or flight, and they ain't really nowhere to go. If your back is against the wall and you ain't throwing no blows, you gon' crumble in the rubble, become blood in the snow. If you a victim, they collect them, grab the body and go. Dig them and ditch them, total disregard for the soul. Gas them and lit them, watch the flesh burn in the glow. Where we live and catch a shiver, this a hell you don't know. Your best hope is that your dying ain't slow, or your dying's a show. Where we at, it's every man for his own. A bloody backdrop, where killers just zone and slice flesh to the bone. Masked and gloved up front of your home. A flash of gun, but the side of your dome. Fresh blood from a stone, dents in your sense. Kick your fucking ball through the fence. Dare you to say something, no sense in sitting around in suspense. Find out what's next, open your fucking mouth, disrespect. See the extent of how my life is intense. She beautiful and oppressed in a permanent summer dress. She a servant and still she blessed. Children cradled against her breast, whispering prayers, wishing their souls the best, knowing that they forgotten, not forgetting they're blessed. The bloodiest red lights, just piles of dead life. Something must be broken, the glyphs wasn't read right. You think them Bible papers will shed light? Yeah, right. Burn after reading, tell the preacher I'm leaving.
But I wanted to do hood rat stuff for my friend. But I wanted to do hood rat stuff for my friend.
What is poppin', people? Welcome back to Shy Ill Reacts. I am your host, Shy Ill, and we are back in the building. Salutes to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Right? Salutes to everybody on this lovely Friday evening. Hope everybody got after that money this week. Millions. Everybody got after that money and you enjoying it tonight, all right? To everybody out there working, get your hustle on, get that bread. Salutes. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in. The math ain't mathing. The math is definitely not mathing. All right? We're gonna have a fun show tonight. We're gonna have a good Friday Night Live. And salutes to y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. What is popping, people? What's good? Good to see you. Right? I feel like it's been forever. I've missed y'all. All right, we're just here to do
But I
hood rat
wanted
stuff
to do
for our
hood rat
friends.
stuff for my friend.
All right, salutes to Deb being first. Appreciate you. Shout out Tere, Shannon. Salutes to y'all. Salutes Velez. Shout out Oso, my brother. Shout out Zoraida. Shai, buenas tardes. Es viernes y el cuerpo lo sabe. Necesito una cerveza. It's going down. All right? Everybody needs a cerveza. All right? If you smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. If you're sober, here's a hug from me to you. And stay hydrated. All right? Hit that like button on the way in. Shout out JP. Salute Sha Il, my dude, Il Cartel members and chat. Hope you've all had a blessed and grateful hood rat shit with my friends Friday. Like and subscribe to the great quality content. It's free and don't cost you a damn thing. All right, just a little kinetic energy off the thumb. Done deal. All right. Boom. Shout out to Pooh in the building. Appreciate you. Let's see. Oh, I missed that one. I didn't see what that was. Good afternoon. Y'all out of pocket? Hit that like button. Definitely out of pocket. Hit that like button. All right. For those that don't know, today we'll be having a panel discussion. Myself, Jay Flores, and Matthew Cox. All right. They'll be joining us around 7 o'clock. Well, what is it now? In about 50 minutes. All right. Did Jay ever meet El Chapo's son? As far as questions go, all right, we will be in the conversation. I'm going to lay down all the law right now. We will be laid down in conversation as the show starts. As they come on, we'll be talking our shit. All right, let them two talk, get their, acquaintance on. I believe they know each other. I'm not sure how much. Salute Ches from Scotland. I appreciate you. Or Che, however, hopefully I'm saying it right. Che. Shout out Raven on the check-in. I appreciate you. And we're going to let the conversation go. As far as the chat goes, if and when I do come to the chat for questions, members' questions will be priority. They are under no obligation to answer anybody's question, paid for or otherwise. During the conversation, the only way to jump the line and be able to have your question answered when you want it answered, or closer to when you want it answered, will have to be through the text-to-speech feature. I just dropped the links in the chat for that. All right, for a $5 minimum, you could have your question pop up on the screen. Let me see if I got one from JP here from last stream or something that I could show y'all. Let's see. All right, here, we'll do this one right here. I thought this was funny. It'll look like this. Oh, it didn't ring out. What's that about? Hold on. Gotta fix that. Hold on a sec. So anyways, that's the TTS setting. That'll pop up in the middle of the conversation, and you can say what you want to say, troll what you want to troll, what it's going to cost you. All right. As far as the chat, to the wrenches, wait for the green light tonight. Let them talk their shit. Shout out Zoraida. If you got them drinks, drink one for me. I'm on antibiotics. No cervezas for me. All right, I'm not. So I'm definitely going to have me a cerveza at some point. The bar will be opening shortly. Boom. Let me pin the TTS to the top of the chat. Wow, there it is. Again, maybe I can answer. So did Jay ever meet El Chapo's son? They met their sons, yes. Shout out Shay. They met their sons. They knew some more than others. Some were much younger at the time. All right, shout out Raven, shout out Albert. Salute to y'all. Yeah, yo, I appreciate you. Yeah, so that's it. We're going to play it loose tonight. We're going to have a good time. All right, we're going to do hood rat stuff with our friends. Shout out Upper Echelon on the check-in. For those that don't know who Matthew Cox is a notorious, how could I say it? Con man or fraudster or scam artist. He's been called many things. Right? He's been called many things. We know Jay's background. We know Jay's background. He sold a couple nickel bags in the park. We know that. He said he needs special intro music. Here you go.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
That's your music right there. All right, salutes. But yeah, so if there's any questions other than that, I'm gonna open up the barra. Where's that bad boy at? Boom. Bars open, $10 bids, $15 shots, 2 drink max. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Power Chat, Super Chat, all of the above. All right. Shout out Yayo. This is a great B-Day present. My B-Day was yesterday. Thanks, Shai, for the content. Salutes to you. Happy birthday, sir. I appreciate you. We don't have a birthday song, so I might as well play this one for you. Or any of the other one. Here, this for you right here, Yayo.
Don Giulini Setentini te pone hasta el culini. Un shot, due shot.
Do a shot. Okay. All right. Shout out Raven. Love Matthew Cox. Salutes. Happy birthday, Yayo. Salutes. Let's see. StreamYard's good. We'll also be dropping throughout the night. We'll be dropping Matt's. We'll be dropping Matthew's YouTube channel and Jay's American Narcos book website. All right. Salutes to them. I appreciate them for coming on the show. Oh, let me make sure this is open. We putting out APBs on people. We got APBs out on 323G. We got APB out on 298. All right. APBs out on there. Brush line, boom. All right. For those that don't know, I had the pleasure of being on Matt's podcast recently, a couple months ago. Let's see how we did there. We got cussed out in the comments, per usual. I cussed their ass back, though. We got 156,000 views on that in a month. Right, not bad. Yeah.
Announcement on Instagram that he was doing a podcast with them and that he was going to do the TV show.
Not bad.
As a joke, and I'm not one to tag celebrities. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
As a joke, I said, Fifth, I want to be on this show, but I don't want to play none of these.
All right, not bad, 156. We need trolls tonight. No, all the trolls are invited tonight. The trolls are invited. The world is yours tonight. All right? Let me pull up some Matt shorts. And see what we could do. All right, Matthew Cox has a crazy story. Again, he's very particular about the words that he uses, like embezzlement and shit like that. Wrong word, fraud. This I don't know the terminology, right? And so I'm gonna do the best that I can. But he finagled a whole lot of money in real estate, all right? Through doctored documents and a cut corner here, a cut corner there. Made a lot of money. Got chased down in his lifetime by the law. Ran on him. Got popped off. Spoke on some people. Definitely spoke. Definitely cooperated. Got a rule 5 under his belt.
Jonathan Pantria sent $20 J Flores / Robin prayers and blessings to you and your entire family. You mega cap and shades wearer. 2 beers for me, por favor.
Shout out JP. All right? Shout out JP for the $20 power chat. Jay Flores, Robin, prayers and blessings to you and your entire family. You MAGA cap and shades wearer. 2 beers for me, por favor. Salutes to JP for the 2 beers. Appreciate you, sir. All right? There's a story behind that MAGA cap shit. So we were in the Discord today. For those that ain't in the Discord, we'll be dropping the Discord link in there for you. Give me a sec. For those in the Discord, we were having a conversation today about Jay Flores on Will Kane on Fox. And JP said, you know, well, Jay Flores said on the show that of all the money that they sent across the border, the millions, 3 billion to be exact, millions, none of those money loads were ever stopped. None of those money loads were ever captured by the United States government by the law. And JP called bullshit.
Bullshit.
That's it. He called bullshit, right? And he said, don't worry, I'm going to ask Jay myself. He said, because this is statistically impossible, right? And I said, don't worry, I'm going to tell him you called him Cap Flores. And he said, no, he's MAGA Cap Flores. So salutes to JP. That was the laugh of the day. That shit had me crying. All right? That's even worse. You're working on your birthday. That's adulthood. Happy birthday. Get that money. Fuck all the bullshit, right?
Millions.
Get that money. He does mortgage fraud commercials. Life lock. See that? You could trust this guy to lock your life down. All right? He's not going to buy a whole neighborhood in your name. I promise. All right? Take the satire. And the funny in that. The funny in that. You know what I mean? Billions. Yeah, 3 bill. Happy B-Day, Yayo. Right. Happy B-Day, Yayo. So yeah, I need a LifeLock sponsorship, man. It's the LifeLock guy. Let's see.
We had a friend that worked at AMC theaters. He always had money. Why do you work there? He's like, man, it's good money, bro. What do you get paid an hour? He's $4.25 an hour. And you're like, how is that good money? He was like, it's really like $20, $25 an hour. He said, everything's done.
Old Soul sent $25 salutes at everyone. Have one of each. Clinking beer mugs emoji.
Shout out Old Soul for the $25 super chat. Salutes everyone. Have one of each. All right, so that's 3 and 1 already. I'm about to close this shit down. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so, y'all. Again, I came on myself an hour early just to make sure all the technicals was right. Get us in a position to have a good conversation between Jay Flores, Matthew Cox, and myself. All right? And boom, we're going to play a couple of videos and just, this is not his story. This is a story of someone he knew.
We had a friend that worked at AMC theaters. He always had money. Why do you work there? He's like, man, it's good money, bro. What do you get paid an hour? He's $4.25 an hour. And you're like, how is that good money? He was like, it's really like $20, $25 an hour. Listen to this. He said, everything's done by inventory. You get 50 cups. You get 50 popcorns. You get 50 this. When you're done, boom, okay, we know we just sold 50. That's how they do it. He said, so what we do is whoever goes and grits the garbage, grabs the garbage to take it out, pulls out all the used cups and all the used popcorn containers, and then we wash them out and we stack them up and we sit them back there. And whenever somebody comes in, this is 30 years ago, so somebody pulls out a 20, jackpot. You take the 20, you reach under, you grab one of the used ones, you get them the popcorn, you get the 2 sodas, and you give it to them, and they leave, and you pocket $20. He said, I mean, you don't have to do that very often. You do that 10 times a night. That's a couple $100. I was like, that's horrible, bro. He's like, I know, I felt bad about that.
All right, so if you was a movie buff 30 years ago, you might have gone into a theater and, sipped something out of somebody who had their mouth all over your cup, all right? Shit is nasty. Motherfuckers is getting it however they can get it out here, but that's the game, right? Everybody got their hustle. Everybody got their reasoning for everything. All right, salutes to the chat. Bills don't stop. That's a fact. That is a fact. Shout out Zaza on the check-in. Appreciate you. Hit the like button, y'all.
me see something here. What's dude's name? Shout out, Vicente on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming through. Also, Matthew has a new book that he just recently put out. It's I would say a satire or a parody of sorts of an investigation, investigating or researching the idea that Garth Brooks might be a serial unaliver. All right, so we're gonna talk about that tonight. I want to get into that, a little bit of that. Going to get snacks. Shout out Raven. Adult beverages. Be right back. Excuse my spelling, everybody. I have to use the microphone thing. No worries. Get your adult beverages and get it popping. Gotta do what you gotta do to survive, man. So if you're cleaning up popcorn cups and putting everybody's mouth all over the popcorn cups in the soda pop cups in the theater. Again, Matthew's been on every show that you could fucking think of. He's been on Vlad. He's been on Patrick Bet-David. He's been on, what is it, Danny? What's the dude's name? Danny Jones? He's been on a lot of these shows. They've gone over his story a whole bunch of times. I got a couple questions for him. I'm more in it for the conversation and you know, what we can come up with as far as, you know, the combination of him and Jay Flores. Two guys from two different worlds that ended up in the same place, a federal prison, and you know, see if there's any overlap in these stories and in these instances. All right. Lately, Matthew's been getting some hate on the internet, not just for cooperating, but you know, they say he kind of, you know, adding crema to the tacos and telling the story, you know, out of pocket. He has a famous story that he tells about getting 5 years off his sentence for a story that somebody else gave him in the joint that he ended up telling on. That person got an extra 6 months and he got 5 years off. And there's a lot of people on the internet, or a few people on the internet. Maybe he acknowledged that. Maybe he don't want to talk about it. But there's a few people on the internet that are talking about it. There's also a interview that he had once with a dude. That interview went all the way left when dude figured out that he cooperated. Again, I put down that if you leave it to the internet to say, oh, you can't interview somebody because they cooperated, then you're not talking to nobody out here. That's just what the fuck it is. All right? That's just what it is. I believe Segura did a spin-off episode on Netflix on the Garth Brooks. I believe Segura had the thought and the idea and the obsession first. Because I do remember. That's why I was surprised to see Matthew talking about it, because I remember this conversation from a couple years ago with Tom Segura on Rogan's show. Shout out Super Big Exotic 420. Appreciate you, sir. I always brought my own stuff in the movie for that reason. Got to. You never know whose mouth was on your fucking styrofoam. So I'm talking about that. Garth Brooks. Hit the like button, y'all. Shout out Raven. Imagine growing up, all the sushi you share cups with in the theater, just nasty. Yeah, Matthew Cox don't care how they feel. Again, neither does Jay Flores. You know what I'm saying? Me, that shit ain't on my jacket. You know what I mean? So, can't tell me shit. Alright, looking for shorts. There's a lot of fucking...
I convinced Social Security to issue me Social Security numbers for children that don't exist. Called them once, and at first I said, hey, I'm 31 years old and I've never had a Social Security number. And they're like, that's not true. Do you have a driver's license? Yes. Okay, you have a Social Security number. Click. So I tried to say all these different things. Then I figured, okay, somebody said there's no way you can get to be 30 years old and not have one. So I call back and I say, hey, listen, I got a 3-year-old son. He was born with a midwife. He never had a Social Security number issued to him. How old is he? And I went, oh, he's 3. And she goes, oh, that's too bad. I said, well, why? She goes, well, if he was under 12 months old, he wouldn't need to show up. You could just bring his birth certificate and his shot record. Yes. I hang up, call back. Hi, my son was born with a midwife. He's 10 months old. He's out of the country. How do I get a social security number? They said, oh, bring his birth certificate and his shot record. I go into Social Security. I give him that, give him the shot record. They go, oh, that's so weird. Hold on. They check and they go, oh, wow, you're right. He doesn't have a social security number. 2 weeks later, boom, comes in the mail. I convinced.
That boy was a wizard, boy. He was a wizard with that shit. Shout out J-Fam on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming through. All right, yeah, be safe, Raven. Yeah, they was passing around all kind of shit in them cups. Vicente, they was wilding. It was. Let's see. Let me see if I could hit the shorts button. What the fuck is that at? There we go.
I ended up borrowing $11.5 million.
Between how many banks, you think?
It was over 50 victims. You know, that they're all.
It's our boy Johnny Mitchell right there. Shout out Raven. Matthew Cox is quick with that mouthpiece. He could ruin a troll verbally. Diabolical. Yeah, I've seen it.
I ended up borrowing $11.5 million.
Between how many banks, you think?
It was over 50 victims. You know, that they're all, every bank's a victim because I kept stealing. I kept doing this. At some point, a guy that was a sheriff's deputy, he came to me and told me they were coming to arrest me. Like, so there's a task force. He used to date a chick that was on the task force. He's a sheriff's deputy. He used to date a cop in Tampa PD. She came to him that morning and said, don't talk to this guy anymore. The feds are going to arrest him. He's already on probation. He's going to cooperate. He's probably going to roll over on you. So he said, but we're friends, and I wanted to let you know. Wow. Like, I was never here, and I was like, okay. He said, what do I do? Because he knew his loans were all fraudulent. I borrowed at least $1 million in his name and another $1 million in his ex-wife's name before they got divorced. He's like, what am I going to do? I said, you don't know anything. Most of his stuff was legit. There was fraud because he was getting money out, but as a borrower, you don't know that. You don't necessarily know that. You don't go to a closing and get a check for 60 grand. I ended up borrowing 11.5.
Man, borrowing 11.5 million, all right? Now he's been asked many times, was it worth it? He said no, right? He said no about 5 years ago. He said, listen, I'm happy. I'm driving a shit car. I'm borrowing cars to do Vlad interviews. I'm, living in my mama's extra room, but I'm happy, right? Again, he does a lot of shit, writes books, writes screenplays, has his YouTube channel, Inside True Crime. If anyone could grab the link for that out of the Discord and drop it in the chat. He got his YouTube channel. He's everywhere, so he's handling his business. People could agree, people could disagree. I don't have to agree with personal shit, for me to do business. You know what I'm saying? Same shit went with the twins. When it came to the whole Surviving El Chapo, reaction videos or whatever, my opinion was my opinion. It is what it is. Let me see. Save what? What's he talking about? What happened? What I miss? Upper Echelon said, Jonathan, save that for the live, but just remember, I don't do any capping. That's no cap. Kibbity cap. MAGA cap. That's what we called you. MAGA cap. What? That's your other fake dope boys. JP be like, fuck them all. Daddy, that's old news, man. You talking to MAGA cap Flores, man. Shit got... For JP, that name got triple sentido. Shout out Kenny. Shot back at it again with his matching shirt and matching hat. I see you, pimp. Salute to you, bro. All right? It got a little chilly today. I had to throw on the Jordan jump off because, the weather's gone. We need a red cat. Relax, bro. You sound crazy. This shit is cemented on the internet forever. Let him know, y'all. If he could be in the chat, he could be on the fucking panel. Otherwise, kick rocks. All right, America. All right. Again, another thing is, a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but Matt and I'm sure a big section of people probably say, hey, man, that's a victimless crime. I don't know how many victimless crimes really exist, but I think the problem with the internet is you guys want people to feel bad a cojones. And if they tell you, yeah, I feel bad, you say, no, you don't. I don't believe you. And it's like, why even have the conversation? Just get the story and enjoy the entertainment. You know what I mean? Why fucking drive yourself crazy? Shout out there. I had no idea he was. Oh, yeah. What? America. That guy right there, let me see. I don't got a fucking... Yeah, I got him. This is America. That's it right there. Shout out J-Fam on the road. Safe travels, sir. I appreciate you. That like button, y'all. We just getting started. We ain't even started yet. I'm just cluing people in a little bit here and there on Matthew Cox and what he's known for, what he does. Now, being that this platform is always open to everybody, and I've said this about the twins, if there's anybody that would like to be on the platform that was negatively affected by the twins and you know, their life in the game or their cooperation, this platform is always open. The same goes for somebody that was negatively affected by Matthew Cox. This ain't the show that you can't come and speak your piece on, right? I just don't know how many people want to do that, you know? I just don't know how many people want to do that. But the platform's here. Anything but that? No. That's it. He's there. Ya lo cagó el gallo.
Yo vivo tranquila con la penetration. Cállate, hijuepuerta.
Shades are badass though, but they're expensive. Call me what you want, but Trump is the only one who's kept his word and is not playing again. Kept his word. When you keep your word about something, and then you do some shit to satisfy that word that you want to keep your word on, right? But then you got to lie about that next thing. It's just a bunch of bullshit, if you ask me. Right? But he ain't really kept word on shit. I think that's one reason why he gets a lot of hate. No mames. Why he gets a lot of hate? Because he kept his word. No, he keep his word. Like, everybody talking about that smuggler ship that he blew up. He could have blew up a couple of guys having a couple chelas on a, you know, Friday, Saturday night or whatever it was, and just blew their ass up and said, got him. Got him. We got ourselves one, y'all. Chinga su madre, ya valió. You know what I mean? I like to call it an overcorrection to everything he's done except for the Epstein files. An overcorrection. He kept his word a lot more than any other president we've had. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. He said, yeah, I'll do it. And then he'd break some shit. And then he'd be like, that's not what did it. I can't even see this. Yeah, well. Trompito's not copying to that. To what you called him right there. Hell no. Just wait for the National Guard to roll into Chirac Street. Boy, Shannon can't wait. They better get the fuck out of my face. And all that tough talk, and then he slowed his ass down anyway. Him and Pritzker, a couple of jerk-offs having a circle jerk. Fuck out of here. Screw that shit. He took us out of bread deals his first term, and he's currently trying to save taxpayers' money from being wasted. Yeah, miss me with y'all alliances, man. Fuck out of here. Y'all wildin'. But let's still waiting for the prices on groceries to drop. I'm fucking Awakata is crazy right now. Shout out 298 on the check-in. We found him. All right, now we just got to find 323G. Macho McFly. They need to come save the kids. Who's they? What the fuck is you talking about? They need to come save the kids? What? You wildin'. You need to talk about that on the panel. Fuck around and make Matt uncomfortable and shit. Don't make Matt uncomfortable with your crazy chat conversation. They don't respect CPD. Get the fuck out of here. What you know about it? You not even here. You can't even be here. What is you talking about? All right? It's not, they not at your doorstep. And so are American politicians in the White House. Same shit. Chicago politicians and Illinois politicians are just like the Mexican president. I don't doubt it. All right? But I don't think that the motherfuckers in Washington is any better. Is there still a toilet paper shortage? I don't know, Vicente. We can send you the fucking. Put him in the fucking bench, Mike. What he do? You save toilet paper? Fuck out of here. Hey, yeah. They over there on Oakland Leaks and shit. I don't know who was over there. I don't know if it was both of them, one of them. I just got the link before we got in here. Still waiting for all the home prices to come down. And they're a part of the mob. Oh, man. Every politician is the same as the Mexican politicians, including Trompeta. Bro, my in-laws are all in law enforcement. So? Huh? What good did that... What? So what? They're all in law enforcement. So what? That means you boots on the ground. They're gonna talk from a police standpoint. I'm gonna talk from a keep the fucking National Guard out of my face standpoint. Shut up, Vicente. You got me shot. That was good. It put you in the fucking bathroom. You want to see what's going on with the toilet paper shortage. All right? They would rather cater to criminals than the taxpayers. I don't want to cater to no criminals. I want to cater to me, motherfucker. Yes, no mamas, Jay. He also said he wouldn't cut Medicaid or Medicare groceries. He also said going after the criminals. And then what y'all say when he started going after old ladies? Well, they kind of fucked up. They didn't do it the right way. And then it was like, we catch them, they keeping people from doing it the right way. Well, there's no right way, man. Cut me with the bullshit. Trump actually started with the mob running construction schemes. If you know, you know. Not gonna lie, he's into fuck around, blah, blah, blah. He's into, I don't know what the fuck that is. The hard times are real, but the good time is coming. No, mommy's wait. Miss me with the propaganda, man. It's like a fucking... But I like it. It's like a cheer team in here. One side cheer for... I don't give a shit about either one of them. Some of the people in here don't give a shit about either one of them. I do give a fuck about, having my, freedom stripped of me piece by piece. But we'll see. When we're all in those little concentration camps, Jay, I'm going to look over at you in your big ass mask and be like, you see? Fucking told you. Little by little. Look now. What? Lo cago.
Yo vivo tranquila con los pelos presos en la casa.
He's not a force to fuck around with. He a crazy man with all the power. Have y'all learned nothing from Bartels? Huh? You can't give lames power. Lose 298. All right, you can't give lames power, man. It's just what it is. Where we at? We are exactly 18 minutes. So y'all could, he could yell back at y'all his Trump propaganda in person. All right, make sure you put on a, you might not want to turn your camera on, but if you do, go get the fucking America mask. All right? Yeah, Trump been tripping. They got one of our roofers crew, 3 total, and my brother-in-law. No mommy's wait. All BS aside, I do hope those good times come. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think either side gives a shit if you and me see good times. Unemployment is higher than 2021 when the vid popped. But everybody's going to have different statistics to throw at each other. It's all a circle jerk. Shot for president 2028. Oh, man. Everybody goes straight to jail.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail. Right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail.
All right? If I'm the president, shit. Please ask good questions. Let's look good for the vest, for the guests. Listen, y'all have good conversation, all right? You and Matt have a great conversation. I'll be there to assist in anything that you need, bro. He's at the Wawa. These fools at the Wawa and shit. There's Wawas all over, man. There's Wawas in Florida. There's Wawas everywhere on the east. Ask good questions. They asked you a good question. They said, why ain't your boy cut the bullshit? And I'm disgusted with out-of-towners trying to tell motherfucking tell Chicagoans who needs the National Guard and shit. Master G dude was locked up for a long time. He knows what's up. Shout out Sophie234. Y'all doxing yourselves in the fucking stripping all these kids from their parents, sending them God knows where and for what. Wait, time for some peace. Waiting for a time of peace. Sorry, what you mean, bro? You gonna be on the panel? Yeah, I'm gonna be on the panel. What you think? No, I'm just saying though. You guys are the star of the show today, not me. You motherfuckers see me every week. Dover. Yeah, Wawa is definitely the spot. I think Chicago needs a Wawa, but my old man said it'll never happen. Damn. Upper echelon, might as well wear your MAGA hat and your MAGA face mask for the panel, so that you could do hood
But I
rat stuff.
wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
JP's on your ass. He said you was talking shit about him earlier. No, I know, 298. I know. We definitely need Wawas over here. We don't got them, though. We don't got them. You like sheets? What the fuck is he talking about? What is sheets? All right, hit the like button, y'all. We haven't even gotten nowhere. We've been in the chat all this time. For those that don't know, Upper Echelon is Jay Flores. Talking his MAGA shit.
I was trying to cash a check for $29,000. I tried to get them to give me 29 grand. And they were like, well, what do you need the cash for? It's like, I work for a labor company and we have laborers and typically they get charged 10% to cash their checks. But I know the checks are good because it's with my company. So I just cash them. And they're like, oh, okay. So at some point he's in the back and my phone rings. I answer and I go, hello. And the person goes, hi, this is Kimberly from SunTrust Bank. Is this Michael Eckert? And I'm sitting there as Scott Cugno trying to cash a check. And I go, yes, this is. Hi, we have some.
Yo, keeping identities together had to be like J&P keeping phones together when they each had 50 phones, 60 phones, 100 phones apiece. Because Buddy had to have mad Post-it notes all over the fucking place.
When here trying to cash a check, and I was just wondering if you could verify the check. I said, oh, yeah, that would be Scott Cugno. Okay, so it's good? I said, yeah, absolutely. By all means, you can cash it. And she goes, okay, thank you. Hang up the phone. The manager walks out. They sat down and he counted out the money. And I remember I stood up and I'm shoving the money in my pockets. And he says, Mr. Cugno, I want to mention that I feel very apprehensive about this transaction. I go, really? What is it exactly? I can't put my finger on it. I go, it'll come to you. And I just walk off. I was trying to cash a check for $29,000, right?
Man, boy, just cash the checks and shit. Let me see. Wish I never knew you were trompito. Play what soundbite? The Wrecking Ball soundbite? Don't start making demands and shit. How about you get on the... how about it's about that time for you to get on that StreamYard? So in other words, shut your mouth if you don't even live in Chicago. You ain't even live in Chicago. Miss me with the bullshit. Fuck out of here. National Guard. And why don't the police... I wonder why the police don't get no respect. I wonder. wonder. All right, hit the like button if you have yet to do so. We're 10 minutes away from starting the show with Jay Flores and Matthew Cox. We're just going through a couple Matthew Cox videos. This is probably going to be more laxed, more laid back than he's used to. He's used to an interview. I don't know that that's what this is, but, Look at PF Joni. Watch whose mouth? Whose mouth needs to be watched? Whose mouth you watching? PF? Whose mouth you watching? Huh? Whose mouth you watching? Hurry up. You taking too long. Don't come in here trolling and then slow down. And what happened? Did I say something too aggressive for you? You felt a little tingle between your thighs? Me? You talking to me? Watch my mouth about what? Be specific. Be specific. I want to know what section. You law enforcement? You a fake street dude? You a tough guy? I talk slick, so does that make you nervous when I talk slick? Does it your manhood, does it put your manhood in question when I talk slick? Hurry up. Get it out. You're our engagement for the night. Look, that person is in 16 different alts at the same time, talking to different alts. Who's ever going to be worried about somebody that has the time to make that many different alts? I'm soft. Did my aggression make you think that you had the need to tell me that I was soft because you said so? You a dork with alts. You take my lunch money? Okay. You should give that shit a shot. See, that's how we know that you soft as fuck. The tone of my voice freaked you out. Got you in on two phones over there, running your mouth. See, you fucked up. I was gonna let you do your thing. Now you talking about dick in your mouth. Whoever that I is, now I'm bitches and shit. Look at this guy. This guy's on two different. Look. He brought his friend in here. You guys are funny, bro. Different kind of coward, boy. You a different kind of coward that the tone of my voice just gets you riled up inside. Half a hoe. Oh, mom joke. Yeah. I usually use those. They don't hit as hard when they come from you. Huh? What happened, PF Joni? Did my aggression make you feel soft? Like you felt like you needed to fucking combat that shit? Huh? Did my aggression made you, Droney, feel so soft that you felt like, man, fuck this dude? You a different kind of hoe, boy. You get to hear how I sound, though. You a coward behind emptiness over there. You hiding behind everything. He ain't never took nobody lunch money. He ain't got his own. That's for sure. Let's be cordial and make a night of it. Oh, no. We gonna keep him here. I don't know. The one with the eye, he might gotta go. He talking too crazy. He's not even creative. He talking about bitches and this and that. It's a joke. I don't joke. It's your real mom, though. Come on, little Timmy. We're talking to Joni over here because, my name is Patricio, but you can call me Daddy. Patricio, man, come on, man. That ain't your name, bro. And there's never going to be a guy named Patricio that's going to, what are you? You fucking, you like you an Italian ballet dancer or you like a Brazilian fighter? Like, which one is it, bro? But I'm never going to let a motherfucker named Patricio take my shit. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. This guy, let's get the eye out of here. The eye could go. The eye ain't even creative. We're going to talk to Patricio over here. But let's get this eye pole smoker the fuck out of here. Put him in the fucking bedroom. We're talking to he's from España. I'm from Spain. You can never take my fucking lunch money, bro. Spain? Get the fuck out of here, bro. We conquered you. Well, when was the last time you conquered anything, bro? You know what you can't conquer? The hoe in you that allowed my aggressive tone to excite you. You know what I'm saying? That's what you haven't conquered, bro. So you are a disgrace to Spain, and you should shut your mouth My show's about to start, so I'm gonna be not paying attention to you after this next 7 minutes. And my wrenches are gonna let you talk your shit in the chat for as long as they decide they feel like it. And then when they feel like we've gotten enough engagement out of you, we're gonna put you in the fucking bathroom. Adios, pendejo. The same way you just did to the other motherfucker.
Adios, pendejo.
It's easy. But PF Droney, you give yourself away whenever another man's aggression gasses you up. You know what I'm saying? You give yourself away, dog. You show everybody, you pull your skirt up and show everybody your slit. Whoever ain't hit that like button's a hater. Salutes. Ya extraña, shy talking crap to the haters. Salutes JFL, salutes. See, sometimes you gotta let these motherfuckers know, man. These Spanish motherfuckers, we fucked them higgers up and they sent their ass back. There you go, see? España. My name is Patricio. I don't like how you talk tough to me. I wasn't even talking to you. We don't even know who the fuck you are. You know? All right, shout out Velez. About to go pick up some Wingstop to watch this live. Buen provecho. Make sure you don't run into
Adios, pendejo.
Patricio out there. Patricio. Oh, man. Look at this guy. You giving orders over here? What you gonna do about it, Patricio? And guess what? That ain't even what we said. That's how stupid you are, bro. You're making Spain look bad, bro. But right now, you engage me. You a good time. I'm just hanging out with my chat today. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad that my aggressive tone just flickered the butterfly in your soul. You know what I'm saying? He came out of nowhere and he had a sidekick with him. And the sidekick was spazzing out. Put your wallets and jewelry on the table because Patricio said so. You think Trump got the Bartels scared after he blew up that boat? I think he got fishermen scared. I think he got, the merchant marines afraid. I think anybody that sets foot in a boat, you know what I'm saying? He got scared because I don't know that there was any dope on that boat. No, just blow it up, huh? Okay. I'm actually a regular listener. That's your voice from now on, Patricio. I'm actually a regular listener. I just felt like talking shit. So you're a fucking terrified ghost watcher, bro. But the first thing you did was come and talk shit. So now you're getting treated like what you are, a little butterfly. Deb, did you put your jewelry on the table, Deb? Because Patricio wants your jewelry, babe.
No, mommy's wait.
All right. That's enough attention for Patricia. Okay? Honey's up in the chat for y'all. I appreciate y'all. I had to get my cervezas. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. That was fun. The other guy wasn't even fucking. At least I got a goofy ass name out of this one, you know. Patricio, you know what I'm saying? The only Pitbull. That's the only Patricio that I'm gonna ever concede defeat to. Put your food stamps on the table. Huh? I think this was a test run to see how the U.S. would react. Yeah, that's crazy. This Higa talking shit in the upper room, trying to talk. What you mean the upper room? The upper room. JFL, put the new jewelry on the table, man. Shout out John Villarreal. Can we call it Patty for sure? Sure. But you got to say that, Patty. Like the Spaniard and shit. Or Pathy. 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 No mames, pendejo. Boy, this nigga Illa Tupuria got this Spain motherfuckers feeling themselves. And he's the biggest dork in the world. Ilya Tupuria is goofy and don't even know he's goofy. See? Now you're not creative. Now you're not fun no more, Patricia. See, you got emotional. You lose. We flickered your butterfly again.
No,
Pati.
no.
Come on, Pati. We crushed you. We didn't even have to put you in the fucking bench. Party. Let me bring my mother into this. Wow. All right, let's get it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Boom. I'm gonna mute my mic for.
What's going on?
Boom. Boom. All right, y'all. We are waiting on Jay Flores, but in the meantime, between time, I'm going to let Mr. Matthew Cox in the building. Salutes to you, sir. You are live on the Il Cartel channel. Let's see. And let me, can I knock this out the way? Solo layout. I want a solo layout here. Bow. PF Droney. Matt knows me. Okay. Whatever. You're live, Matt. You are live, Matt. What's popping?
What's going on?
Not much, man. Hanging out, waiting on Jay Flores to tap in. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for having us on your show recently. The chat thoroughly enjoyed that. And it was a good time. We had a good time and, you know, got some love out of it. So I appreciate you. And thank you for joining us over here on the Il Cartel. Again, for the people that don't know Matthew Cox, he has the channel Inside True Crime. If one of the mods could drop that link in the chat. How you doing, sir? How you holding up?
I'm doing great. Where are you?
You can't see me?
No.
Oh, see, because they can see me on the channel, but you can't see me. Let me see if I can make that happen. Because usually it's just
as long as you know.
I mean, you got the vanity on lock right there. You know what I'm saying? You got this full screen mode happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to, you know, if I didn't know if you realize you. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, on StreamYard, I'm not sure if I can switch over the camera, but I'll give it a shot while we're here. And let me see. Let me send Jay Flores a message quickly.
Yeah, I never do these, so I don't know how it works really.
Yeah, we fly by the seat of our fucking pants around here, sir. All right.
Yeah, we moved our studio.
Did you?
Yeah, it's not in my living room anymore.
No.
No.
New digs? Bigger, better?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. It's like a big boy studio. It's like a real, you know, real office building, the whole thing.
Nice.
Super cool. Super professional. Like you show up now and you actually think you're like, wow, these guys know what they're doing. You know? As opposed to you drive through my residential neighborhood and I start getting texts from people saying, am I going to your house? Well, yeah. They're like, oh, I thought you were in a studio.
Right. Meanwhile, yeah, no, they didn't Google it first, man. They don't, you know, they got to move slicker than that. All right, let's let Jay Flores in here.
My living room.
All right, shout out Kobe. Let's get this dude in here. Wow. Jay Flores. Hello. Jay Flores. Can you hear us? We cannot hear you, sir. We cannot hear you. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, there we go. I think Jay Flores, microphone check. Jay, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. Now we can hear you. What's popping? Hello. Jay Flores, you that guy today? No, can't hear you, sir. Do you guys know each other? Like, Matt, like, do you guys, you and Jay, you guys talk? And
I mean, I've spoken with him, yes.
Jay, we cannot hear you. Shout out Think Like a Kingpin on the check-in. Peter Flores in the chat. Boom, he's changing pictures and shit, but can we hear your microphone, Jay Flores?
Yeah, I know. I can't. It's not doing any good.
Jay, nothing? All right. Jay, I'm going to kick you. Come back.
What?
Leave it to Jay Flores to be the guy. You good, Matt. I don't know what you...
Me?
Yeah, you're good. It's him that I can't hear.
Well, we could hear him for a second. He must have hit the mute button or something.
Kicked him. Let me get back here. He's changing pictures and shit. Let's see. Unmute mic. Oh no, he's got me muted. All right, he's wilding. I don't know if he's getting yelled at. So Matt, so you got the new spot. So for those that don't know, Matt, how much bread did you at the end of the day were you able to actually spend in that lifetime that you had of getting money? How much you think you really got to blow?
I don't know. That's such a common question that, and I've heard that before. Well, because people, they ask that, but the truth is, because I think people have a certain, when they hear my story, they immediately think that I'm a flashy person. That's just what they think. They think, oh yeah, he was blowing money. He was doing all this, big time stuff. But I wasn't, I was not really that person. I don't really blow a bunch of money, and I'm not a flashy person, and I just never really have been. So it's not like I was doing anything crazy. I wasn't driving a Ferrari or anything. I could have, like, all of those things that you could afford. I'm not interested in doing those things because I don't want to raise suspicion. I don't want people paying attention to me.
She was flipping.
So I'm driving. What?
So he was flipping it.
I mean, I'm saving it, and I might be going on vacations, and I drive $100,000 car, or live in a nice house, a reasonable house or a reasonable condo, travel, have some, maybe a couple of cars, and you just, hang out. Like I wasn't trying to, act like a maniac or anything.
Right. He wasn't on some
Hey guys, I'm not sure. Could you guys hear me?
Now we can.
I apologize. I guess we were having a little bit of trouble. Matt, how you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Well, nice to see you.
Well, nice to see me and my wife, huh? On the picture. But blessings to everyone on the chat, anyone who's listening in. Thank you for being here too, Matt.
Yeah.
Shout out Jay Flores on the check-in. Salutes to the chat. I appreciate y'all. Again, I kicked it off early. I asked the just because I was thinking to myself, like, people are looking for the eccentric shit. They ask the twins all the time, oh, what's the most eccentric thing that you bought, and this and that. And my thought is, how much did you spend that you don't even know what the number is? You know what I'm saying? How much bread that just went by the wayside? Like, there's numbers in your cases. There's numbers as far as, these big stories that you tell. But who knows what was blown along the way. But like you said, you're not that kind of guy that's just going to be blowing money however.
No. No,
Yeah,
I don't do that. And you can't listen to what the U.S. attorney says. You can't listen to them.
Absolutely. Inflated like a motherfucker.
Yeah. It sounds good.
Makes a great headline.
I think for most of the time, especially Matt, I want to tell you, you got a great podcast, a great show. I've been one of your first followers since when you started. But most of the time, I'm tuning in, like, You know, probably saying the same thing people say about me is like, this guy's so full of it. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
I get the he's got so many stories, he's lying. Listen, their stories are from me being locked up in prison.
yeah,
You know, like I'll say, hey, you know what's funny? So my editor, you know what my editor does is he'll take a story where, let's say I'm talking to somebody, let's say I'm interviewing Jay and we're talking, and I say, man, that reminds me of the movie Heat. And then he goes, Heat? I never saw Heat. And I go, you never saw Heat? Oh my God, there are these two guys, and or you know, there are these guys, and they this and they. I start explaining Heat for 3 or 4 minutes. My editor will then take Heat, and he'll turn that little section into, let's say, a TikTok. But when you listen to it, it makes it sound like I'm saying, me and my buddies, you know, me and a couple of guys, you know, we were doing this and doing that, and these cops are chasing us, and we went in the bank, and they go, you know, or maybe I'm telling a story about somebody else, but he'll leave out Heat, or me saying, have you ever seen Heat? And I'm explaining Heat, so people are like, this guy's so full of it. That's the plot to Heat. He's such a liar. He's such a I'm not saying I was locked up with this guy. It's a TikTok. And the next thing you know, guys are like, this guy's so full of shit. He's such a liar. It's like, I didn't, that's just a TikTok. Like, I didn't edit this. I didn't. Or guys tell stories in prison. And I'll be like, yeah, I met this guy and he did this in prison, blah, blah, blah. And you'll get half the guys will be like, that's a lie. That's bullshit. That never happened. It's like, I'm just telling you what this guy told me.
yeah. I think, you know what? I understand. I love some of the stories you share. A lot of times are things that happen in prison, right? And being in prison, it seems like everyone has a crazy story, and you take their word for it, right, Matt? You kind of start to understand
Yeah,
who's not.
you can only verify so much stuff. Like, how am I going to, I can verify that you got arrested for moving, you know, whatever, however many thousands of, you know, kilos or something. But I can't verify when you tell me about a close call where you got pulled over and the cops questioned you and they were about to go, they asked to search your car and you thought, oh my God, this is it. And then suddenly they got a call on the radio and said, hey, it's your lucky day, bro. Go straight home. And they walked off, got in their car and took off. And you're like, whew. And guys are like, that's a lie. It never happened. Like, how would I know if it happened or not?
Yeah, Matt. You know what? I get a lot of those. Recently, especially like yesterday, I did the Will Kane show on Fox News. I did that live. And all day I've been getting like these screenshots of all these comments of people saying he's an actor. That's a lie. And for all those people who think they know, you know, like drug trafficking, I mentioned that in the 10 years that I was involved in drug trafficking, from my experience, that my brothers and I organization never lost a load of money going to Mexico. And people are offended saying that that's cap. I'm like, look, I've told everyone I got robbed for over, you know, $12 million worth of drugs at one time. The people know about our home invasion, and you know, people love to say how we're soft and everyone took our stuff. But yeah, I tell you what, I didn't take a loss on, and that's cap. That's not true.
Yeah, there's always going to be a thing. There's always going to be somebody that's going to. I mean, that's just the nature of the game, though. You guys got on the internet, and that's what the internet does. I guess it's a two-way street, like what Matthew just said. You just said, you know, hey, the editor was like, hey, we put this out. It's a soundbite. Because there's a girl, too, that the girl puts in the description, hashtag this is all fake. And then she gets on the camera and she says, I don't cook for my husband. I don't clean for my husband. I don't clean up after my kids. People don't get that far into the video or read the description to know that she's just talking bullshit, and they're eating it up.
Trying to get views.
And she's getting mad views. You know?
Yeah, Matt. So I think that's one of the topics I wanted to talk to you about. Because you have very interesting people, like, you know, and not everyone's full of it, but some of the guests, I guess they're just going to come and tell their stories and any podcast. But I do believe that when it comes to, like, for instance, in my situation, you'll hear people, if I say I don't have any violence in my case, it's cap. But the same people will be like, but they're soft. Or, you know, the biggest thing is like that me and my brother were not built for that life. And Matt, like, it's funny because I'm like, no, they don't understand. We were the life, you know, like everyone's watching from afar. I was born in the life, you know. I was in the life since I was at the age of 7. And a lot of times because I don't look like them or sound like them or try to act like, oh, this, you know, tough guy, it seems like I can't be the real deal. But I think that's what probably made me successful. That I didn't want to be any, like just regular dumbass in the street, But I grew up in both environments, both here in the United States and in Mexico. And the people, my brother doesn't ever do anything like this, my twin brother, because he's so like frustrated, says that the internet been scammed with a bunch of liars and bullshitters, that it makes now the people think that when they hear a real story, it's a lie.
Right.
And that's some of the things that I've experienced. And as you know, I always said that I told Matt that when I'm gonna do a real in life interview with him, and he's gonna be the first podcaster I go to, just because I think that you always kept it real about your side, your experiences and what you went through in your case, and some of the stuff that you cooperated against, right? And your cooperation. And I love that, right? Because everyone else is a tough guy. Everyone else did hard time, and they know every criminal element and every drug trafficking and fraud, and they're these experts. And I really believe that they don't know shit.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, make up, just like you're saying, make up the mind, make up your mind. Or are you too hard? Or you not, I'm sorry, you're not hard, or you not, what I'm saying? Like, well, what is it? You see what I'm saying? Like they'll argue. I think that people just want attention when they say that stuff. I think they just want attention. They're desperate to get attention and so they talk about stuff they don't know. Because typically, if you respond to those people, they back down immediately. Do you ever respond to them?
I'm
Do you ever
actually a big fan.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get it.
You know what? I'm not sure if you know the story, but how I think you guys talked about this in the Shy interview, that the reason why we and Shy actually became friends and started talking was because I respected his opinion. I felt like his opinion was fair. When he thought something was bullshit, he called it. When if he thought that we did bitch shit, he called it. And something he doesn't know the other side of it. And once I guess the whole story started to come about, he started to understand. Now, I don't make excuses just like you. I don't make excuses for why I cooperated. My reason being, I always said, you know what, me and my brother made the best decision for us at the time. The difference for me and my brother was that we decided to cooperate at the peak of our, criminal wrongdoing, and we were making, more money than most criminals could dream of. But it call us, a little bit more, call us intelligent, or intuition, or, what I call it, that it was, you know, I believe it was like a message from God telling me, you know what, you got to change your life. And the only difference between me and my brother was that we did it first, and we made what we believe was the best decision for us, and thank God we did. And people, it's hard for people to accept that, right? I hear people say, oh, they were scared about the war. First of all, who's not scared of dying? Okay,
Right.
just nonsense. Who's not scared? You bring me person. You've been in prison, man. You met really tough guys.
Right.
They're tough, but they're also smart. And everyone's scared of dying. When people tell me like, yeah, the stuff that you see on the internet today, and especially social media, it was going on in Mexico. That was going on when I was around, without the cameras.
Right.
You know what? I will tell you something. Being from Chicago, I want to tell you that it prepared me for those environments. But you know what? I was scared when I was back home, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know not one dope dealer or criminal that wasn't scared of getting killed. All that nonsense of we're tough and I could die for this shit. It's bullshit. It's what they have to say. Um, I remember being in the shoe, man, and they ended up putting one of the lifers across from me, from California, and he'll call me youngster. Hey, youngster. And I was like, he like, how long you been in? I was like, whatever. I think it was like I was on my ninth month or whatever in the shoe. And I like, man, I can't wait to get out of here or whatever. He like, man, it's all right. You're gonna be all right. I just did 26 years in the shoe. And I looked at him like, oh God, you gotta be, there's something wrong with you here. You're gonna be all right. It's nothing. And I remember once we came out to the unit, and when he would say that, I was the type of person that would not stay quiet, like, yo, like, that's some dumb motherfucking shit right there. Like, 26 years in the shoe ain't nothing. Like, you think that it's gonna make you tougher because you're telling that you spent 26 years in the shoe? I believe if you believe that, it's not. It's because there's something mentally wrong with you.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, no, that's not normal to be okay with that, or to think that that's okay.
Man, let me ask you. We know the twins came up in the game very young. 7 years old, getting taught the game and shit like that. What was your upbringing like? Was it violence? Was it the code of the streets? Was it all that type of shit? And I also want to add to that. Did you have in them they had it basically bred into them the game? Did you did you cheat playing marbles? Did you you know what I'm saying? Did you try to hustle people out of their lunch money? Was that something you had as a kid, or is that something that came once you were in the brokerage firm type situation?
Yeah, no, I was raised upper middle class. I was raised exactly the way people think I was raised. Nobody's looking at me thinking, "Oh, this guy was from the streets." Like,
Right.
nobody's thinking that. No, I was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was raised. I was raised by I was raised Catholic, and I actually went to school for. I had a learning disability, and that's. I was not raised. I was not raised as a tough guy. But I had a learning disability, and I ended up going to college, and I got out of college, and I after some failed attempts at other careers over the course of 2 or 3 years, I eventually, well, actually, now that I think about it, probably after about 3 or 4 years, eventually I became a mortgage broker. So, there was no, like, I was not from the streets or a tough guy or anything along those lines.
And
Not even close.
And the hustles didn't start until you were mortgage broker and shit.
Well, I mean, I've always been a salesman, right? Like, I'm a good talker. I'm my father, I remember my father telling me, that I would always be able to make money because I was a natural born salesman. He used to say that the secret of sales is sincerity, and if you can fake that, you got it made. He goes, and you got that in spades. He said you could fake it. Like, he's like, I'd always been kind of a performer. I'd go see a movie and come home and tell my mom all about the movie and ramble through it in like 5 or 10 minutes and tell her about it. And it was just one of those people that was personable when I needed to be. Okay. If it was important that you like me, there's a pretty good chance I could make you like me.
I could conjure that up.
Right. Yeah. If there was no reason for you to like me, I probably wouldn't make much of an effort, right? Like, I'm just like, oh, hey, what's up? I don't walk into a party and try and talk to everybody. I'm a pretty quiet guy. But, when push comes to shove and it's, necessity and there's money involved, then of course I'm going to be extremely gregarious, right? I'm going to be self-effacing humor, joke around, have fun, laugh a lot, and try and get everybody kind of on my side. I mean, that's just sales, and I'm not a
great
stupid guy.
salesman, Matt, because I would say I think that you got great communication skills and you're articulate, and I would never thought that you had a learning disability. So
everybody says that, but having a learning disability doesn't mean you're stupid. It makes it more difficult for you to learn in the same manner that other people learn. I typically learn by doing. I'll do something, fail, do something, fail, do something, fail, and then I'll know it better than the guy who got it the first time.
You know what? That's a great description, because I feel like you're describing me. And me and my brother always say this honestly, and I told Shai this, that I learned from mistakes.
Yeah.
That's it. Is I learned from them, and capitalize on those mistakes and did things differently. But that's all it was, It's not like I had this big old plan. I never said that I was just like perfect, drug trafficker or criminal, not at all. And when you say that, like, I went to Catholic school, and if you would have told me even a week before we got into drug trafficking that I was gonna be a drug dealer, I would have said, no way, I don't fit the profile. I would have told you that myself. I'm not, like what people looked up to, like my older brother, or, you don't know the story, but there's, a high ranking member of the Lion Kings. His name was Cato, which was a good friend of mine. Like, I'm not them. I remember, we were telling the plug, like, you got the wrong guy, like, you got to go get one of those guys. And he was like, no, no, you guys got this, So, it's one of those things where the environment, I guess, that we're in, it kind of just created us, and we learn from other people's mistakes, including our own mistakes. But they always called us nerds. And I remember writing this manuscript, and I said, shit, call me a nerd today, right? You could compare me to, if I was in the street, you told me I was anything like, Zuckerberg or something like that. That's a compliment today. But back in, in our environment, anything
Right.
that's good is bad, right?
Well, that's why I asked the question. That's why I asked Matthew the question of coming up, because you guys were talking about the attitude of guys in prison that are 26 years ain't shit, and this and that and the other. But it's like there's a difference in upbringing and in the streets. Like the things that are supposedly honored in the streets and supposedly valued in the streets, don't nobody else give a shit. Matt didn't have to grow up giving a fuck about the snitch culture and when to snitch and when not to snitch and all the picking and choosing that everybody does nowadays. It's like he didn't have that weight on his shoulder that a lot of us had growing up in the hood.
Yeah, I never. That didn't even. You know what's funny about that whole thing is that the first time I got caught, and this is what's so funny is when people well, first of all, most of the people that in the comment sections that will say like, oh, this guy's a fucking snitch and he's this and he's that, it's always like, well, it's typically like, oh, he would tell on his mother, he would do this, he told on people went to prison because of him. Actually, none of that's true. Like, nobody went to prison because of me. Nobody got any more time. One guy got 6 months and he got out on COVID. He didn't even do the time that the stake that he had before I gave him 6 months. You see what I'm saying? Like, he didn't even do his original time. So, and then people will say, yeah, but you don't care. You didn't know that. You didn't care. I didn't care. I didn't give a fuck if he died in prison. I don't give a fuck. He didn't care about me. I don't care about him. He was cooperating against his co-defendants when I cooperated against him. I don't give a shit about that guy. He doesn't give a fuck about me. So, but these people, they get in the comments and they scream and they holler. But what's funny is the first time I got in trouble, when I went to my lawyer, I paid my lawyer $75,000 to plead guilty. To plead guilty. So I paid him $75,000, said, look, I just want to plead guilty. And my lawyer said, listen, you haven't been indicted yet. He said, I can go to the U.S. U.S. attorney and I can get you something called pretrial intervention, where I can go, and if you cooperate, you go in to the FBI and you talk to them and you give them the files to a bunch of your brokers, because he knew they were committing fraud. You work with them, I can keep you from being indicted. And I went, he said, yes. He said, so you'd be fine. You're handing them over. Like, he knew I was going to end up with probation anyway. And I thought, and I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I didn't do that. I took a plea. Got 3 years. And then, and keep in mind, I got in trouble because two people that I was working with, two mortgage brokers I was working with, wore a wire on me. I wouldn't do that to my brokers. But the moment that the feds came back around, all of my brokers that I wouldn't do that to immediately cooperated against me. So I knew then, right then I knew.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm cutting everybody's throat. Everybody's throat.
This is a really good conversation because, many people don't believe it. It's just so weird, right? Like for those people who are in the streets, especially those people who are from Chicago, we were your get out of jail free card. I had so many people telling me, I swear, once a week, a few times a month, we'd get paperwork on people I didn't know that were cooperating against us. You know how lawyers are? Like, we get all the paperwork. And I never have an excuse. I keep saying, I always told her, look, there's no excuse on why we did it. But what people are getting sold in social media and in the streets, like, it doesn't add up, man. We've been to federal prison, okay? It's a 98% conviction rate, okay? There's a very small percentage of people who go try. Everyone else pleads out or cooperates.
Right.
You know, we have I think the feds have 100 and whatever thousand inmates in there, whatever they have. There's no way. I think that if anything, there's probably maybe 5,000 guys that didn't have a choice, that went hard, and everyone else some way somehow cooperated or pleaded out and made someone else and picked someone else in their crime, right?
Right.
But the numbers add up. But right now, when it comes to like everything's going on, especially you see what's happening right now with the like rap and Atlanta and all these guys that are they're surprised that people are cooperating. And I make no excuses. Like, look, man, in my cooperation, in my case, yeah, all my guys went to prison. There's very few that didn't. And we hardly ever talk about this, but there's not one of those. Okay, there is one, just one person that I wasn't close to, but everyone else I have a relationship with. Shy knows this. They have reached out to Shy, and we have actually had, like Zooms about, look, it's so, like we have nothing but love for each other. The people I put in prison, there's people who are in prison today, and Shy could attest to this, that have reached out to him, and then later on have called me and said, I was mad, but I understand, man. And there's no excuse. Like, yeah, I did what was best for me, just like everyone else. And for those who didn't cooperate in my case, and I have like one individual who's like, I just want, just so you can see, I would never been a snitch. I would never told on you. And I tell them all the time, like, but I sent lawyers to you and told you to cooperate. Like you telling me that was not going to make me think that you weren't, because guess what? All the other 99 guys did. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, you're not going to cooperate. Well, good for you. I am going to cooperate. Like, I have a guy the other day who went on another podcast who was locked up with me. His name was Red Bull. And he goes on this podcast, and these two guys started this podcast. It's called 10 Toes.
Yeah, I got a problem with Kyle. I just want to talk to you about that later.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's funny because like the guy that set me up with Kyle and set me up with Jason, and these guys are calling me asking me to come on the podcast. Yeah, you can come on the podcast. Like, no problem. And this guy, I think is it not Jay? I'm sorry. Come on. I just said his name. Not Kyle, not Jason. The other guy's name
Red
is
Bull?
No. His name is I can see his
He's
him
from
right.
that Florida
Nelson.
case, right? Yeah.
Nelson.
Yeah.
So this guy Nelson came on my podcast, talks to me, says that he took a plea, he got 8 months, and then I just heard through somebody else that he didn't take a plea. He got a 5K, or he took a plea, but he got a 5K1. He cooperated, and he got a Rule 35. But he's hooked up with these guys that are talking about being stand-up guys. Then they go on. They've got this podcast, and they bring this guy Red Bull on, so that Red Bull can blast me about cooperating. And what's so funny about that, then Red Bull calls me, and, and actually it's funny when I reached out to him after I saw the podcast, and he was completely like, he didn't know the story. So he's like, oh, Matt gave some guy 10 years. I didn't give him 10 years. The guy got six months, and he didn't even do the 6 months. And so Red Bull, when he and Red Bull's, he's saying stuff that he's talking about stuff that he doesn't know anything about, but it's fine. The spirit of what he said was true. So I got on the phone with him. I texted him, said, hey man, I saw that. He did a great job telling his story, and he has an amazing story. Which I hope he does very well with. I hope he, I tried to give him a little bit of advice, and, I got on the phone and we start talking, and he's like, yeah, well, what bothers me is that, you told on this guy. Like, what if it was me? You would have told on me? I said, yeah, of course I would have told on you. Of course. And he's like, well, that's fucked up. Why is it fucked up? I know you from prison, bro. We're work friends. That's it. Once we lose this job, we don't talk anymore. We talk once on the phone. We say we're going to get together. We don't get together. I never heard from this guy. When he got out, he didn't look me up. when he was in prison, and I sent him a couple of emails. He didn't respond to the emails. I'm writing letters. He doesn't respond. Like, we're not friends. I met you in prison. I wouldn't hang out with you on the street. What are you talking about? Like, are you delusional to think that I wouldn't fucking cut your throat to get out of fucking prison?
There's a lot of delusion, and I'm sure you know this more than anybody. There's a lot of delusion in the criminal world because, you know, me and Jay talk about it all the time. Me growing up seeing guys that cut each other's throat, and then they're hanging out a week later, and it's like, wait a minute, it doesn't mean nothing. This is a whole farce, a circus. This is a theater. It's theater at the end of the day.
They want to believe that they've got some kind of code, but the truth of the matter is that you don't owe these people anything. You owe your family something. You know, it's always like, why are you selling drugs? Oh, to provide for my family. And then the moment you get caught, you're not supposed to tell on the other people or cooperate with the other people that were in the conspiracy with you. You're supposed to leave your family at that time because those people aren't going to take care of your family. They're going to cooperate against you. You're in a bad
hindsight, what everyone
dumb
says
spot if you don't cooperate. You're
the
just
dumbest
stupid.
remarks I get is this. Like, I don't make excuses. You're absolutely right. What people say, the code. What code? Like, there's no code. It's cooperation's been part of the game. I'm gonna tell you, I learned that since my father was in prison. So my father went to prison in 1980. All right. Snitching has always been a part of the game, but one of the things that I recently saw, and you know, Wallow and Gilly, they have the podcast, $100 million worth of game, or $1 million worth of game podcast. They're out of Philly.
I don't watch podcasts, bro.
Yeah,
I watch documentaries. I barely ever watch I've never watched one of my podcasts.
Oh yeah,
I'm
so,
sick
yeah,
of it.
He's a great man. He's articulate. So Wallow did 20 years. They have a very successful, one of the most successful podcasts. He's become a keynote speaker, a motivational speaker. Street guy, very smart, and he did an interview where he says, you know, all these people who talk about, you know, I wouldn't snitch, I wouldn't do, like, how could you say that when you never even been in those predicaments? You don't know what you're doing till you're in that situation. And you know, a lot of people, of course, you know, call me and my brother out about, like, all these idiots, we're this, we're that, about everything. And I always wonder, like, I'm gonna sound like Jay-Z right here. Like, if we're so idiots, how come there's not another one of me, you know, alive or running around the country, right? Doing the same thing we did. But everyone could make excuse about cooperating. I've seen a lot of people that come on your show and say, yes, I cooperated, and I'll make an excuse. Oh, they would have done it to me. They would have, you know. And I would tell you something. That's why I love your perspective. That I've seen the other side, and I used to tell all the guys, look, I know, you know, you can cooperate. I know what I'm facing, but I did do it a little bit different because I reached out to the government myself, but I did it literally to change my life. And I said, look, I'm not going to choose them over my family. You know, I know the way it goes. You could even see, even at the highest levels of drug trafficking, the people that all these street people admire, like the Chapos and the Mayos and all these people, they're the biggest snitches. You know, they invented the word betrayal.
Well,
I learned that firsthand.
All the mobsters cooperating.
So what's weird is that they would say, oh, you know what? It's not good for snitch, but it's okay for you to, you know, shoot your friend that you grew up with or your brother-in-law or someone in the back of the head because they think something or they assume something or it you know, you're bad for their environment now or for their, you know, organization. It's okay with that. So it's weird because people would rather have seen me and my brother be murderers than cooperators, you know? And then we tell them, like, look, we don't have no, you know, we didn't do no violence. And they're like, oh, you're full of it. You know, oh, if we did, it would have always been something. You're not built for that life. And I'm like, look, man, I wasn't built for that life. But guess what? I made it. That's the only difference. No one's built for it.
Right.
No matter what's the business.
So what's the issue? Am I violent or am I soft? Pick a side. Are you guys? You and your brother are soft, or are you and your brothers definitely committed violence against people? Which is it? Like,
you know what? It's real. And you know this, Matt, now because you've been on the other side now. Like, you probably started off on financial crimes, but you were in prison. I know you said you did a little bit of time with La Barbie, right?
No. You've said that before.
I thought you said that there's a cartel guy, or maybe one of your guests said
There
that he
were
was into the
cartel
Bible.
guys, but not LaBarbie. No.
Oh, okay, you were not with him. Okay, but there's people like that, for instance. Okay, there's these, big drug lords. Anyone, I'm gonna tell you, even Chapo's kids, who I was associated with. It's real easy for you to point the finger and say, "Go kill." I had that power, right, where I could have been like, "Yeah, get rid of them." That's hard, having the power and not going into that. But it just won't. We were not going to be fakers when we were in the street. We were not going to be, what everyone thought it should be like.
Right.
Matt, was there ever any cartel's the buzzword around town nowadays. All you got to do is say the word cartel and you get a whole bunch of views right now. But was there any just throwing it out there, any overlap in the real estate situation? Never saw some guys that you thought, hey, maybe these guys and none of that shit, never ran into no overlap. That's a pretty safe business to be in, that mortgage fraud shit right there, huh?
Yeah, I've never had any issues with anything like that. I had not a legitimate business, but I had what seemed to be a legitimate business for several years until I got caught, and then still appeared legitimate for a while. And now I didn't need to bring in anybody. I mean, it was me and a group of guys, and most of the people that were involved in any type of my fraud were asking to be involved, right? Like they see me making a bunch of money and they want to make a bunch of money, and then I say, okay, this is what I'm doing. You could do this or this, and I'll help you do this, and we can work together, or forget about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, no. I want to be involved. I want to do what can I do? Okay, well, here's what you can do. So, that was pretty much it. But no, there were no cartel guys. The only time I ever met any of those guys was when I was locked up.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't the kind of business where you worried about some guy that you did business with looking for you and shit.
Nah.
Not that kind of gig.
Listen, no, nothing
jail,
like that.
Whole different deal right there. I wish you was locked up with LaBarbie. I would have had some great questions. Go ahead.
I'd say though, it's funny. I remember one time I got upset because I bought a piece of property. I bought it was a quadplex. I bought the quadplex on, let's say, a Monday. I forget when I bought it. Let's say I bought it on a Monday, and the people I bought it from were in the middle of evicting someone. So I said, look, don't stop the eviction. I can close on Monday, keep evicting them, because they were going to have the guy out by, let's say, Wednesday. I said, have him out by Wednesday, because if they stopped the eviction, I had to pick it up. I had to start over. It'd take another 30 days. So it was like, no. He won't know that we changed hands. Just keep evicting him. They said, okay, that's fine. Or I said, or we can wait and close on Thursday or Friday. They said, no, we'll close Monday. We close Monday. Wednesday, the cops show up. They throw the guy out. Guy gets in his car, drives down the street. The cops leave. He gets a gas can, comes back, walks into the house, kicks in the front door, pours the gas can out, sets the place on fire. The next door neighbor, who's like in a wheelchair, watched the whole thing, called the police. Cops grab the guy. He gets arrested. He goes to jail. And I have to, so literally I've owned the place 2 days. I'm making a claim for a fire.
Right.
And I remember being, this is the world that I lived in. I made the claim, and someone at the insurance agency was telling people that they thought I had started the fire. And I called up and I bawled out the owner of the agency and told him if I heard one more person say it, I was going to sue them. That's the world I was like. That was a
that was
thing.
a threat, huh?
That was
man, that was a blessing, huh?
I mean this shit.
Oh, listen, you know what's even funnier about that? Listen to this. And this is also the world. So the insurance adjuster comes out from the company. They come out, they come out and they say, yeah, it's going to be like $32,000. I forget the exact, like 32, 34,000, something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he leaves. He says, I'll send you an estimate. I said, okay. I then call what's called a private adjuster. It's somebody in Florida who will represent you. Like, what if State Farm's trying to tell you $34,000 and you're like, no, it's going to be more than that. So you get a private adjuster. He comes out. He looks at the damage. He goes back to the insurance company's adjuster and says it's going to be $59,000 to replace that, to fix that place. And keep in mind too that the cops showed up right. I mean, sorry, The fire department showed up right away and they put out the fire. So, but it was damaged. There's a lot of smoke. It was a big fire in one of the units. And so they argue for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I end up getting a check for $59,000. I give $5,000 to the private adjuster. So keep in mind now I've got this place that I just got an extra $20-something thousand. I pay some guy like $1,000 to go clean out the place, gut it, right? And I'm going to renovate it. And I'm going to renovate it for, I guarantee, less than 20. But before I can start, I pay like $1,000, maybe $1,500 to some guy. He cleans it out. Before I can do anything, I get a letter from Hillsborough County School Board that says, we want to buy your property. We're putting in a school across the street. They offer me $120,000. I argue with them over the course of the next month or so. I get them up to, I want to say 138. And we close like 3 days later. I get them to agree to it. We close 3 days later. Keep in mind, I bought this place for $80,000. So I made the 50 for the fire. I made the 50. That's just it. And I still owe 80. And then I sold it for 138, less closing costs. So I make another 50, 55,000, 58,000. So I made over $100,000 on this piece of property. I made 3 payments on it.
That's crazy.
That's a good deal. That was a great deal.
Great fire.
Yep, that was a great. You were just on a roll, on a lucky streak, huh?
Listen, and that, by the way, the 80,000 that I bought it for, I actually got like it was 100% financing. I told the insurance when I bought it, I told the bank that it was worth like $100,000. They lent me $100,000. I put $20,000 down. They lent me the 80, and I took the 80 and paid off the seller, and I kept the 20. So I got 100% financing and never put any of my own money in it. So I close on a Monday, and 3 months later, I sell the thing, made like 3 payments, 2 or 3 payments, made over $100,000. Like that, you know, so that's the world that I lived in. Like there were no close calls. Nobody was pulling guns. Nobody's threatening each other.
You was in the wrong business.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking
talking bad about me, and I'm going to do something. I'm going to sue you. Yeah.
For all the people in the audience, if you can't get a house loan or mortgage or anything, this is why. Send all your hate mail to Matt.
Yeah.
Shout out Pierre Rossini in the chat. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah, it's a different. Pierre, what's up to you? It's a different type of hustle. But I always said, if I would have known like that, you know, people always say that it's easy money in drug trafficking, and I'm like, whoever sells you that probably didn't have $1, because when I was in prison, I used to be like, man, I could have been a doctor twice. All those close calls were, being from Chicago, you have a lot of close calls, man, especially coming like in a neighborhood where we come from, like little village or being on the streets, right? Man, it's shit happening all the time. What really kind of starts changing your life is when your close calls last for a long period of time, man, if that makes any sense. It doesn't last a few seconds. It's like, weeks, and months of you literally have a few guns to your head, and you're not supposed to make it out of there, and you do. And that's when you start to change a little bit. But yeah, I realized that we're in the wrong business. And I'm telling you, like, seriously, being in the streets, 75% of those hustlers, those drug traffickers in the street are broke, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're broke. They spend all their money at the stores, you know what I'm saying? And trying to impress other dudes and all that. They don't have it. They can't even come and re-up. It's a fake. It's a lot of facades, a lot of fake stuff. There's no money there, and I give it up to anyone who goes to work every day and comes back and makes a living and doesn't get caught up in the limelight or gets caught up in wanting that we can't afford, because
right.
That in itself gets you into more problems.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I talk to these. I would talk to these guys in prison, and you realize pretty quickly it's like, well, you didn't really have any money. Like you didn't really make any money. You know what I'm saying? Like they just didn't make a whole bunch of money. You know, they would spend as much, you know, they didn't have credit. They didn't even know how credit worked. They just didn't know anything. They didn't have the ability to even launder their money. Like they didn't even know how to launder their money. They didn't know how to open up corporations, how to hide their money, how to do anything. It was like, as soon as they got arrested, they lost everything. And immediately all of their friends rip them off. They go in and they rob them. I can't tell
Absolutely.
you that's met that say the moment they got arrested, all of their good friends went into their apartments or their houses and just robbed them blind.
Yep, they know
I'll tell you, man, I was one of those persons. You know, I grew up like we dealt with nothing with cash. You know, thank God I had, you know, smart, intelligent people around me. Like my brother always was making sure he was on top of like more of the corporate world, and thank God for my wife, who was intelligent enough and, you know, taught me about corporation companies and, you know, all that. But, you know, we ran a cash business, right? And thank God, I will tell you something, Matt. My team, you know, from Chicago across the United States, all the people I dealt with, especially those at home, were nothing but real good, honorable hustlers, you know, from the heart. I never had problems. I'm gonna tell you, some of my guys, man, they end up owing me $1. And they're the type of people that will go look for your people just to pay, you know. It's not always like that. But I didn't know how to do. People always ask, like, how'd you buy, you know, your expensive cars? I used to come and drop a bag, a big old bag, like, I want that Lambo, you know? And what we would do, Matt, is go pick up bums from the street, you know, and say, you know, look for people with IDs and be like, you want to make $1,000, $2,000? And we'll take them to the car lot, you know, that we knew, and we'd drop the bag cash and be like, put the car under his name, put a lien on it.
Right.
And wait for the title to come back. Then we take the title, go change it, you know, switch the title and do it again, you know.
Yeah, most of these guys are not that sharp though.
Yeah, I mean that's how we used to do it because I didn't care. I'll be honest with you, man. When we'd go buy cars and all these things, I wasn't looking, you know, like to like not lose on the car. Man, my brother and I would go buy cars and leave them downtown in the parking lot, and we would drive them once a month, if that, you know, like.
Right.
Like we bought them and we were gonna buy them. We were just gonna buy them just to use them here and there, but I wasn't gonna be depending on them. You know, like, oh, what am I gonna lose on the car? Or what if I don't have it? You know, like,
yeah, but you're at a level that that most drug dealers don't, or you are at a level that most drug dealers never get to, even if they're bullshitting. It breaks down very quickly when you're talking to these guys and you start to see how they're living and what they had, and you realize right away it's like, oh, okay, you didn't really have anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you start realizing that they start saying things and it's like, what you know,
yeah,
they just never really got like, that far.
Yeah. And I even say like, you know, well, I think you had a great guest. You had the prosecutor, the detective on that BMF case, right?
Right.
And even when you hear about BMF, like me knowing the dope game, like, I'll be honest with you, like my brother, I'm gonna speak for my brother who's probably in the chat. So much love to my brother who was real. You know, we call him Batman, man, because we say he was the real, you know, I was just Robin, I was his sidekick.
We call him quality control because he's on Jay's ass to make sure Jay says and does the right thing.
So my brother used to say that if he woke up with Big Meech money, he'd kill himself. You know?
Right.
It's because, you know, what people believe is just a different level, right? It's just always like a, you know, it's this facade thing. And I'm gonna tell you, like that, I learned the hard way. I had to bounce back from zero, you know, a few times, right? And I've been around, you know, people who I even thought had money, and it wasn't like that. But you know, it's just a life. I think what's important to me, why I even do this, and you know, I'm gonna start getting a little bit more out there as I'm moving along, is that I feel like I'm the real deal when it comes to the street, man. You know, like street stuff. Like me and my brother lived every, you know, criminal's dream, you know, to go from the, you know, street level all the way to the top. And guess what? We have a story to tell, right? And people may not believe it, but not many are gonna have our experience, you know. And whoever's out there thinking they're doing it, whatever the case is, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's, you know, people out there that are, you know, getting it. But I just think that, once you experience those things and you start realizing that, you know what, nothing's more important than the stuff we take for granted, and we had a lot of close calls, and the life is hard,
Yeah, I never met anybody laying in prison that was missing their Lamborghini or their penthouse or their vacations. Like, it's always like, I miss my kids, I miss my wife, I miss my mom, I miss my dad. That's who they miss. And it's like, those are the people, like you said, those are the people you were taking advantage of the whole time. They're taking for granted, not advantage. You were taking for granted. Like you're getting all these things, and in the end, you when you're locked up in prison for 10 or 20 years, you don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
Yeah, thank God. You know what? Thank God that remember my father being in prison, my older brothers being in prison, like just so much death and imprisonment that I understood, the hurt, myself, because I went through it, and once even I got to prison, I'm gonna tell you, man, what some people don't really talk about is that every grown man in there, I don't care who you are, they cry of the loneliness and the hurt, and it doesn't matter what type of hard guy you are or not. And
when I got sentenced to 26 years, I cried like a small child. You've never seen anybody cry like this. I mean, it was pathetic. And just as I got my shit together, when I got back to the unit and they were taking the chains up, and I looked up and I saw 50 or 60 guys staring at me because I'd just been on the news, I started bawling all over again.
You know what? I'll tell you.
Just got it together.
Matt, I'll share a story. I remember I had a couple of really hard situations when I was in there. And there's times where I used to, just shed some tears, I remember a couple of the guys used to be like, come on, man, come on, don't let nobody see you. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them see you cry. Come on, like, go in your side. I used to be like, nah, man, like I would never hide it. And I used to always tell her the difference between me and you. If there's a tear I have to shed, I'm gonna share it in front of you guys. I'm not gonna go in the cell, put up my, the flap up. You get me? And do it, because it's a reality. And those people who are a little bit, wiser, they know, man. Everyone suffers the same. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor in prison. And I was like, thank God that I was able to, have a date, because some people don't. And I think that's what people take for granted. I think for me and my brother, I think that's what we want to kind of share, right? That the life wasn't all that it was supposed to be, and the cars, the jewelry, none of that matters, And even, I get the whole rat situation. There's no excuse. I, take that on. Like, I wear it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to try to, like, I always tell her, like, I wasn't living for you. I was living for me and my kids.
I don't get that whole, I'm not making, you're making excuses. I'm not making excuses, bro. I'll cut your fucking throat. You are nobody to me. I don't give a shit. If it's between you and my freedom, fuck you. The code, there's no fucking code. We got no code. Oh, well, I thought we were friends. Fuck your friendship, bro. Trust me, you're going to fuck me the moment you get a fucking chance, and then you're going to steal all my shit when I'm gone. We're not fucking cool. Like, we're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're living in a delusion. Like, and, I'm not justifying it. I don't have to justify anything. I'm not worried about your respect. I don't need your respect. I need freedom. That's what
absolutely, I need. Man. And you know what? One thing, like Shy, like, I respect that Shy doesn't agree with you snitches, but he's also not in that situation, right? No, he knows, but he respects that we have our, that's our life, right? And that's what I always say. Like, I'm not, like, Shay's not saying I'm gonna go snitch or whatever. He's just saying, look, don't get into life because this is what it is. And some of the stuff we talk about,
Matt, there's also people that have cooperated that say, oh, well, their stance is, well, the guys that didn't, they're stupid. I'm like, nah. You got your code. If they got their code and they're willing to fucking eat that shit, and even if they regret it 20 years from now, I'm gonna respect them for having their code and living by their code. That's them. You know what I'm saying? That's. I'm not gonna call them stupid because they did that. They made their choice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, listen, good for those guys,
man. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure how much you know, but I have man, I'm not sure how much you know about. But I'm married to a very strong, independent woman who at one time probably was, I feel like she probably made more money than your average person, you know, that thinks she was a drug trafficker. Everyone says she has more balls than me, and she probably does. And there's time, you know, she calls me a snitch all the time. And she's like, I ain't snitch. And I ain't gonna snitch, you know? And I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure
I'll put money on your books.
I'm sure she's listening, so I just want to say I want to send my love to her and tell her, like, she is one of the strongest women I know. She's a very intelligent, but also, right, it's you know, like, it's funny because she just came home from doing some time, and she was mad because she said, I'm gonna take you to trial. I don't give a fuck. I'll do the 8 years standing in my head. And once she was there and she was complaining, I was like, you standing in your head here?
Yeah.
You know, just because you know that's the environment, I guess.
Yeah, it's just silliness.
Quickly
it's just
before
silly.
I let you get out of here, Matt. So 5 years ago, you were on Vlad, and you said he asked you if it was worth it, right? And you were like, hell no, it's not worth it. He said, man, I'm fucked up, got a shit car. I'm fucking in my mom's extra room. I had to borrow her car to come over here to Miami to fucking interview with you and all this shit. Well, things have changed for you. How was the transition from everything you were doing to the technology change and you jumping on YouTube and being a success on YouTube? If you could get into that quickly. And then I got one more question after that, and I'm done with you, Jake. Say what he wants to say. But yeah,
Oh, it was horrible. What do you mean? I mean, as far as me getting into YouTube, like, it was the anxiety. I tried to avoid technology for the longest time, right? And at some point, I just kind of realized, like, what are you going to do? Go the rest of your life asking people, like, hey, how does this work on my iPhone? I was like, you know, you're not stupid. You're going to have to figure it out. So I started just YouTubing everything, every single thing. And now it's funny because now I'll do stuff and my buddies are like, hey, how'd you send me that thing? How'd you do that? I'm thinking to myself, like, you've been out here the whole time.
Right.
You're running a huge company. You got 40 employees. How do you not know how to use your iPhone? I just got out. You know, I had to teach myself how to edit. Now, luckily, I don't have to do that anymore, but I can do it. I can do shorts. I can do everything that my current producer does and the editors do. I can do everything that they do, which, you know, you need to know how to do. If you're gonna have a team, you need to know when they say, oh yeah, you can't do that. No, you can do that. Don't tell me that.
Absolutely.
So you need to know. And you know, initially I had to do it because nobody was going to do it like that. You can't keep relying on everybody. You have to do it yourself. And, you know, and it's just been a lot of hard work. And I do all kinds of shows, like, for nothing. I'll fly somewhere and do some show that's going to get me 100 fucking new subscribers. And I'm willing to chip away at 1 million subscribers. If it's 2 or 5 or 10 subscribers at a time, if I get 10 subscribers from this, well, that's fine. That was worth it. I got plenty of time.
Right.
I'll keep chipping away at it.
Was there a specific guest? Was there a specific guest where you were like, boom, all right, this is working for me?
You know what it is? It's funny because you start to, if you're smart, you start to pick up on trends. And I'm lucky because my producer is very good on figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And as soon as he came on board, he said, you got to change the name of the channel. And I was like, no, wait, I like Inside True Crime. He said, yeah, it's got to be Matt Cox. You can keep Inside True Crime, but it's got to be Matthew Cox first. And I go, why? He looked on the analytics. Nobody's looking up Inside True Crime. They're looking up Matthew Cox. They're looking up Cox. They're looking up Matt Cox. They're looking up Con Man Fraud. They're looking up Cox Fraud, Cox Con Man. You see what I'm saying? Like, that less than 2%.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with you saying Cox that many times on my channel.
Nice. So
we're starting to sound like a little porn channel here.
So when I got to a point where we started interviewing people, and after like a year, we realized this is how much we're making off of these interviews. This is how long it takes for them to kind of trend, and how long they pay. You know, they'll pay for about 3-4 months, and then after 3-4 months, it dives down. You know, it dives down dramatically. So you realize, and at that point I had said, look, this is how much we're making. How can we double this? And, you know, is it doing 2 of these a week, or which there was no way for me to do 2 a week because I don't know if you guys have gotten into this yet. Jill, I'm not sure. If you do in-person interviews?
No.
Okay, so getting someone to pay their money to get on a plane and fly down to do your podcast when you have 50,000 subscribers is nearly impossible. There's just not enough benefit to them to do it. So I'm convinced I was able to convince one person a week to do it. And so I knew I wasn't going to be able to double that, but I needed to double my income. So what I did was I started doing remotes, and I knew I could do at least 2 remotes a week. So I started doing 2 remotes because you only get about half the views on a remote as opposed to in person. Plus you only get about half as long talk time on a remote because for some reason people just don't talk. It's not as comfortable. So if an interview that's an hour on a remote would be 2 hours in person. It's just more personable. It's just you get a better vibe.
Right.
So I started doing 2 remote interviews a week and 1 in person. And over the next 2 or 3 years, and that, by the way, that tripled our income. It doubled it for a while and then it tripled it. But over the next couple of years, it became 2 interviews a week. Then it became, and over the last 6 months, it's become 3 interviews. And nope, we don't really do remotes anymore.
Right.
We don't have to because now we've got over 700,000 subscribers. And if you're in Los Angeles and I say, man, I'd love to have you on the podcast, but I can't. We really don't pay for people to fly in. We don't put them up in hotels. We don't really do that. You've got over 700,000 subscribers. You know what they're going to do? They're going to say, oh, don't worry, bro. I'll fly myself in. My aunt lives in Orlando. I'll stay with her. I don't mind doing that. And that they fly themselves in. Right. Because there's a benefit to you. You know? So
Matt,
there wasn't a benefit at 50,000. I'm sorry,
Matt. That's big shout out to you. I want to just acknowledge something. Shai, I haven't seen that Vlad TV interview where you were honest and humble enough to say what you were going through when you came from prison, and obviously you said that your crimes wasn't worth it, and what you made from it, I think is just all you, that you could have probably done something right. What they always said, something a little bit more you would have known back then, but. Congratulations to you, and hopefully I'll be able to be a part of getting you to that 1 million. And maybe we could schedule something before the year's end so I could go and maybe I take a trip to Disney World myself and make this happen.
Yeah, Jay, I'll pay for your flight and I'll put you in a hotel. But you know what I was going to say, Jay, even if I had gotten out and I had a couple $1 million stashed away, and I hit the ground running, and I didn't have to stay in someone's spare room because it wasn't my mom's spare room. I was living in a rooming house. My mother lived in a retirement community, so I couldn't stay with her.
Oh shit.
She was in a nursing home. So even if there was money on the street still, and I got out and I had a couple $1 million, and I was driving a new car, and I had a nice apartment or something, it still wouldn't have been worth it for the amount of time that I missed with my loved ones and the harm that I did to them. And the loss of a relationship with my son, which I talk to now. We text every once in a while, but it's gone. It's over. It's over.
You can't get back the time.
Wouldn't have been worth it.
Yeah, you can't get back the time, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Obviously, we're doing different crimes, and me and my brother say this. Like, we don't like talking, a lot about the money we made, right? And like people always ask us that, but I tell them all the time, it wasn't worth it. It was not worth one single dollar, and people don't understand. That life, no matter how much we try to get away from it and turn our life around after the prison, after that, we still suffering from it. My wife's sitting, in home confinement because of those, negative, and doing criminal stuff and negative stuff, and it continues to just be around you, and it sucks all the life out of everyone, your loved ones, my whole family,
Well, and Jay,
it's a high price to pay.
Yeah, you'll understand this. Because when you say that the money doesn't make you happy, it sounds like a cliche, right? Because your parents told you that, and everybody growing up told you that. Oh, money doesn't mean anything. And they told you that. It sounds like a cliche because the great thing when you grow up and you don't have a lot is you get to think to yourself, if I had the money, I'd be happy. But then you get the money and you realize you're not happy. And so you and I in that way are lucky because we had money and it didn't make me happy.
Right.
It
Losing
sounds like
money.
a cliche, man. And I tell everyone that the easiest thing is that once you have the money, guess what? More money, more problems.
Hey,
Now,
I want the
99
opportunity to
other
be
problems.
unhappy. I'm looking. It's about time for me to get the opportunity to be unhappy.
No,
Papa.
but you know what? Legit wise, it probably could be different, but you always have to stay true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Find something that's more meaningful. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Like when I say that to people, you know what made me happy, man? Being at home with my wife and my children. You know, having a laugh. Like the simplest thing that people take for granted. Like, and when I say that, people get like, "Oh yeah, you're so full of shit." And I always say this: let's go back and ask every person has said money isn't everything besides Christ, right? We go back to each one of those persons, all those persons, including you, including me, at one point had a lot of money. Okay,
Right.
they had it, but you have to have it to experience it. So the same way when I say, you know what, that life isn't worth it. People say, oh, you're want to be Kingpin. I'm like, nah, I'm not want to be. That was who I was. You get me? Like, no matter what, at the end of the day, the biggest jugglers in the world called me on a phone call just to say hello to me and admire us for what we were doing. Okay, but at the end of the day, I was doing it for myself. And I'm gonna tell you, the people I hurt were all the people around me. They didn't care about that shit. You know, our kids didn't care about, you know, buying them Gucci, you know, strollers and shit. Like, and it was a little bit too late, but thank God that me and my brother were able to change our lives. But it doesn't matter what the crime is. If you have some common sense, you know what? They could keep the titles. You know, my brother always says that you can call me whatever you want, but make sure you also call me free and alive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, listen, by the way, I meant to say this earlier when we were talking. Listen, being a snitch has been nothing but upside for me. It's been nothing but good. I'm supposed to be in prison right now. My out date was 2030 with good time.
Oh shit.
And everybody's like, oh yeah, but you're a rat. Bro, it's working for me.
Jeez.
I've never had anybody, not one person's ever come up to my face and said in public, you're a fucking rat, fuck you, fuck. And I'd be like, you're right. You're right if they did, but they don't. You know what I get instead? Yo, bro, I watch your TikToks. I love your story. It's inspiring.
Man, you know what? I would tell you something. I hope that doesn't happen, but I would say people tell me all the time, you must be the most scared. You must be dying. You die 100 deaths every day. And I'm like, nah, I'm blessed. You know, I'm a believer in Christ. I love what I do right now. I teach law enforcement. I do seminars, conferences. I'm getting better each and every, you know, time I do them. I love what I do. I love working with law enforcement, and I love that I was able to change my life around. The good, you know, people say, oh, they don't understand it because they're still in that environment, right? I'm not there, man. I'm already, you know, I'm past that. And you know what? Cooperation. Thank God that the government allowed us to cooperate, right? And I risked my life for this. You know, I risked my life to cooperate. Like, man, you know, my brother and I worked, you know, 7 months, 8 months undercover in Mexico, you know, cooperate against the biggest drug dealers in the world. Like, I feel like I'm here and I'm blessed for, and it's for a reason. You know, I think God had plans and purpose for me. And, you know, I wish I didn't have to snitch, meaning not because of that, because I just wish I wasn't in that life. And a couple of weeks ago, I did this interview with this reporter who wanted to be like extra, and she asked me if I regretted my life, and I said, well, I regret my life, but I don't live with regret because I live for today, I live for tomorrow, you know. I'm not about what I could have done, what I should have done. I just look, you know, I learn from my mistakes and I move on and try to be a better man, better husband, better father. And sometimes I fail at that, you know. But I'm grateful that we were given the chance, you know. And I'm gonna keep working to that. Hopefully, I be an example for all those young youth and all those people who think they're about that life, you know. You don't know what you're gonna do until you're actually in the situation. And if I would have known that I was gonna become this big old drug trafficker, you know, early on, then you know, who knows? I probably would have declined.
Matthew, Jay's already, you know, he damn near got a badge already. Have they ever reached out to you on some Frank Abagnale shit and was like, yo, come be the police and you know, consult or any of that type of shit?
Yeah, I've it's funny. Like I'll go speak I speak in front of credit unions, banks, mortgage company, lending institutions, cyber security companies too, which is odd because I'm not like a hacker, but it's really not what you think it is.
Right.
It's more about social engineering is what cybersecurity is. But I teach, I actually 2 weeks ago we were in Park City, Utah, at the Stein Erickson Lodge, which is this really elite, nice place. And I spoke in front of 60 private lenders, and like, listen, they flew my wife and I up there. We spent 3 days there. We went to dinner with them several times. I did a keynote speech. They paid for everything. And these are the same guys that I would target to fucking rip off.
And you know what, Matt? You're better. You're more articulate than I am. Could you explain a little bit what that feels like?
It's an odd feeling, right? It is for me because I keep waiting for one of these guys to call me a scumbag, and that's not what they're doing at all. They're walking up to me, shaking my hand, telling me that my story is amazing, and wow, I watched a bunch of your stuff, and boy, it's I've learned a lot listening to you, and it's like what have you learned? Like but it's interesting. I'll tell you the most nervous I've ever been is I've also spoken in front of law enforcement. I've spoken in front of about I want to say 300 or 400 economic investigators for like sheriff's departments in Orlando, and I spoke in front of about 40. I think I was more nervous speaking in front of the 40 guys in Hillsborough County. They had detectives from other counties that were focusing on bank fraud, and they all came and talked. But it was very close and personal. When it's 300 people, you're not close to these guys. No. You're on a podium. They're at a distance. But there were 40 cops, and they're in uniforms. They got guns and shit. They're right there. They're 5 feet away. It was not a great feeling.
Well, Matt, you know what? I say that because it's so real to me. To go from where I've been, to the top mountaintops of Sinaloa, to be in conferences and with law enforcement. I'm going to tell you something. Many people don't know, like 60-70% of the places I go to, they're not accepting to me being there. They still hate me, which is understandable. But I done did 1,800 officers. All right, 1,800. Okay. I do conferences, but I would tell you something. The feeling that I get that's so real to be like, wow, I'm standing for the first. I never thought I would even be speaking, public speaking, not all doing these interviews and none of that. I never could have imagined. I feel like this is God's purpose. But then being with your adversaries, I don't consider them my adversaries, right? Personally, it's surreal. It's almost to me like a miracle every time I do it, every time they reach out to me. Like, I can't believe it, going in front of Congress and speaking in front of Congress and not only that, becoming really good friends with law enforcement. I know that I got a really good friend, Lucy, probably listening in. Just thank you for all her help, and just making friends all across the country of some of these agents, and some of these people who at one time, would have done anything to put me in prison for the rest of my life. And then being there and being able to eat with them and just talk and in a different environment, I'm sure they still look at me, some of them look at me like, I'm still be a criminal, but it's surreal. And I think for people, would have to kind of walk in our shoes to experience that.
I think that some of these guys, it wouldn't matter what you did, they're going to despise you. I think it's in some ways some people have to hate you to feel good about themselves. And that's about them, not me. I think for the most part, I've had good experiences. I've had all good experiences.
Matt, you're being a little modest because you're a full-on fucking investigator. You getting to the bottom of this Garth Brooks shit. All right, you are definitely an investigator. Can you tell us?
Yeah, Matt.
Listen,
you have me googling Garth Brooks. Like, I want to solve a crime now.
Listen, my buddy Pete and I wrote this book, and I mean, I never had so much fun. We laughed and giggled, and we're like a bunch of 12-year-old girls joking about this whole thing. Like, it was just fucking funny as shit. And I was hoping to get on Tom Segura's show, his podcast.
Right.
But he's the one that started the whole rumor.
I do recall that. That's why I was familiar when I saw yours. I said, wait, Matt is now in on this? Let's see what's going on here.
Oh, listen, nobody's done more research than Pete and I. We did more research than anybody. Listen, months and months and months. No, I mean, we have cases, we have dates, we have locations, we've got everything. Like nobody's put this shit together like we have.
For those, I'm gonna drop the link for the book in the chat before we're done here tonight. I'm gonna get after it right now.
And before we go, I just want to send big shouts out to Pierre Pete. Man, he's great, man. He's an intelligent guy. I'm glad I'm able to call him my friend, smart guy, and I could imagine I got to pick up the book, but I think you maybe Google some stuff and start searching. Like, could this really
you go on TikTok? It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give the people a quick breakdown. Tom Segura, comedian Tom Segura, that's on Joe Rogan Experience as a regular for many years. A couple of years ago, started talking about the rumors of Garth Brooks being a serial terminator, okay, and coinciding dates with with his tour, right? Dates of people missing and bodies found and stuff like that. And then I'll let you go from there, Matt, if you want to give them a brief synopsis of how you got involved in the situation.
Real quick, hey guys, Matt, I have to go. Guys, look at Shai. Thank you for having me, Matt. It was a pleasure spending this time with you. I'm gonna look into that, and congratulations to you and your channel. I want to be a part of it. Shai, thank you for having me on. Let's do this
for sure, again. Jay and Matt. You can go right after that. I'm sorry I kept you over, but as soon as you give them this pitch, boom, we're good. Jay, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, and
we'll hold this against you, though. We will definitely hold this against you, and we will leverage this to future dates. Thank you very much.
Blessings to everyone in the chat. For all you haters, you want to drop some comments, go ahead. I'm gonna sleep good tonight, though. But Matt, thank you for having me. Okay. To us for being here and look forward to it. Okay.
All right,
Jay. Have a good
God bless, guys.
Be safe. Peace.
All
right. So Garth Brooks, how did you get in on the Tom Segura situation?
So I did an interview with a girl named Stacey Lee, a woman named Stacey Lee, who has a channel about true crime and mysteries and stuff. And we did she just kind of told me about it. And so we did a 1 hour interview about her channel, her channel, and Garth Brooks. And while I was talking about it, she explained to me that Segura had started this rumor, and she had told me she started looking into it, but she really didn't have enough time to look into it. And I said, "Has anybody ever written a book?" And she said, "No." She said, "But the rabbit hole is long and traverse," and that she's like, "There's tons of stuff on Reddit, on TikTok," and I went, you know what? I said, I think I can look into this. I'm going to look into this. So Pete and I looked into it, and we hired a couple researchers. We researched all the dates, put together a whole timeline. So we have an actual list. It's 120. There's 120 missing people, and I think it's an 80 unsolved mystery. So it's roughly a little over 200 people, and they correspond with tour dates. Now Garth Brooks has over 1,000 tour dates, but it corresponds with tour dates and times when he was at the Grammys or the Billboard Music Awards or different places he's lived. And so we kind of dovetailed everything in and wrote a book about it. So the book is in two parts. One part is basically a story of Garth Brooks's life and how he could possibly be linked to these murders. And then the other half of the book is just the raw data that we came up with, and what each murder or missing person case, the basic information on people if they want to look into it. And listen, I did one podcast on it with a buddy of mine, Danny Jones, talked about it for 30-40 minutes at the most. And people, he cut it up into 5 different TikToks. 3 of them got over 1 million views. And other people started cutting it up, and they started making TikToks, and some of those have millions of views. This is just one. And I just brought, we just talked about it. Like, it was just one of many things we talked about in like a 3-hour interview. And it just went semi-viral. And so I think I'm going to go out and start really kind of promoting the book.
Right.
And, pushing that whole thing. And really all we're really doing is we're just looking into the allegations that Tom Segura started,
Right. Or at least got to him and he publicized with the amount of platform that he has.
Yes. And let me tell you something. Some of these you look at and you're like, listen, I admittedly it's confirmation bias and it's coincidence, but damn.
Right.
Some of these things you're like, this is getting to be airy. This is getting to be really, really odd and
eerie.
It's some of the coincidences are just uncanny. Like right. you get to a point where you're like you can't really shrug it off. It's like right. he's been close to so many missing people and unsolved homicides. You get to a point where you're like, geez, I
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but
well, because how silly is this? It's silly.
Yeah.
But
until
boy,
you start
let
seeing
me
hardcore numbers, you start seeing numbers, and you're like, wait a minute, this. I mean, that's what investigations are, aren't they?
Well, listen, and interviewed a retired FBI agent, interviewed 2 psychiatrists, interviewed a roadie. Bro, we looked at it. We interviewed some people. We really looked into it. It's a good, you read it. Everybody that's read it has been like, whoa. The only people, I've gotten a couple comments where people are like, oh, it's not what I expected. There was no really hardcore evidence. Like, you didn't really think I was going to convince you that he's a fucking serial killer. Right. Like, you didn't. What did you think? I had DNA evidence? Like, I'm telling you, this is how it dovetails in, and the places he's been, and the coincidences, and it's an overwhelming amount of coincidences, But no, at the end of the book, am I going to convince you that Garth Brooks is a serial killer? Like, no, of course not. If I could do that, he'd be arrested right now.
Right? Have they reached out? They haven't reached out on some fucking stop talking about us type shit, have they?
No, listen, they've never reached out to Tom Segura.
Right. And now you said you tried to get on with Tom. How did that go? What was up with that?
Well, I spoke with his producer, nice guy. A friend of a friend put me in contact with him. Nice guy, but according to him, Segura doesn't want to be a part of this anymore. Like he's done. He feels like he's exhausted it. And I thought, okay, well, I wrote a book. He's still going to go ahead and do one more podcast like this. This is the quintessential work on the subject, right? Like this is the definitive work on the subject is my book. Mm-hmm. So he's going to have me on for sure. And the producer spoke with him and he said, yeah, man, I've exhausted it. I'm done with it. I just don't want to, I don't want to push. I just don't want to do it anymore. Right. I don't want to talk about it anymore. And so that's it. He doesn't want to have me on the show and that's fine. Here's what I'm wondering. So here's what kind of came out during our info while we were looking into this is that that Garth is, they call him the liberal cowboy. So Garth has he played at the inauguration for Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. He played at one of the campaigns or something. For Kamala Harris. I think he's donated money when remember the whole Moldovy thing with the Bud Light. I forget what the guy's name is. Justin Moldovy, whatever. That Bud Light thing, right. Garth, all the other bars owned by these country music people in Nashville, they all stopped carrying Bud Light. But Garth didn't.
Right.
Garth is big into trans this and trans that and gay marriage and all these things. And so as a result of all of that, it kind of came out. I started hearing rumors that he was like a protected person of the deep state. Mm. And so what I'm thinking happened is maybe he had somebody reach out to Segura and say, hey, enough with this. Mm-hmm. And Segura said, hey, I'm done. I'm not saying Garth pulled him aside, because I think you would know about that. But I think it's not hard for someone to reach out on Garth's behalf and go to Segura and say, hey, enough with it. Right. Shut it down. Right. Now, nobody's reached out to me, but, I just jumped on this bandwagon.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking maybe some deep state shit.
Hey,
We don't know what.
it's not hard. A good troll, a good scammer troll could pull that off. You know what I'm saying? Hit him up and put the fear into him. I felt like that about Rogan at one time. Like, did they get to you, Rogan? Did they tell you to chill the fuck out?
Something's happening.
You know what I'm saying?
Something's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop that. I'm gonna drop the link. I got the link right here. I'm gonna drop the link in here, and I appreciate you, Matt. Thank you for fucking hanging out. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you had a good experience. Again, a little choppy at the beginning, but these are very, chill, impromptu conversations that we have here. And we just, like I said, kick the bobos and talk our shit. If you ever have something that you want to promote, get off your chest, talk about, you're more than welcome to come through. Again, I appreciate you for having us on. Hopefully I get to see the new studio someday. And, I appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good night.
All right. See ya.
Peace. What's poppin', y'all? Let me knock this stuff down. Salutes to Matthew Cox. Salutes to Jay Flores. JP. Give me a sec. Boom. Here's the link to the book right here. Boom, that's a link to the book, y'all. Shout out Primo, Cocaine Wayne. Shy is going to the right via karate. Jay. I don't even know what that means. Bring on Fox those people. You're about to get that money. I ain't mad at your family. Karate Jay has to be useful for something. He doesn't want anything to do with the story anymore. He wants no parts. Tom Score is done with that shit. All right. I held salutes to Matt. Matt, he was gonna come on for an hour. He stood here an hour and a half. He beat out Jay Flores. Jay Flores holds that L today. He got beat out by Matthew on Matthew's first visit. Salutes to Matthew. I appreciate him. Thank you for coming through. Again, if we could redrop his channel in the chat. Salutes to the chat. Y'all held it down on your own today. I couldn't really pay much attention to you. I wanted to stay involved with what was going on over here and in the conversation. Let me shut this out. Wow. Not bad. I had a good time. I think it was a good conversation. Again, if we had more time, if this was one of our 4-hour streams, 5-hour streams, it's a different conversation. But, people got shit to do. You know what I mean? But salutes to y'all. We're still going to hang out. I'm not done. Right? I want to pull up some links over here. We'll go into the links here. We got the Inside True Crime link. Let me get that. Drop that over here. Excuse my mouse. Alright, boom. Definitely got there first and stayed longer. Shout out Matt. Salutes to Matt from my brother Also. Shout out Oppression. I apologize, but I could be back to answer some questions in about an hour. Well, if we're still here, check in, all right? All right, shout out El Primo. El Primo said you gotta do something, man. Getting that Fox money. All right. Where's the best place for me to hear about him? About who? About Matt? You can hear his interviews on the channel that I just dropped. Shout out Velez. Live been fire. I appreciate you, sir. Again, I wish I could have been in the chat more. Were they all done the same way? Were they all? No, I don't know, man. There was just bodies, and I'm going to let him tell it. Again, we're going to cut our own TikToks and see how that goes. You know what I mean? See how that goes. Hold on a sec. I don't know what the fuck this is. Nah, I don't know you, bro. All right. As I said, damn, why is the first time I heard about this? Those combos move fast on the Discord. Thank you for coming, Matt. We appreciate your time. From Zoraida, I appreciate you. One would think if it was complete BS, that he would be getting cease and desist letters. Shit. Shout out Zaza, appreciate you. Check out Matthew Cox on Dateline. Yeah, there's a whole story. Like he had offers to do these news channel shows, you know what I'm saying? American Greed and shit like that. and they were gonna give him time off of his sentence, and they were gonna consider it towards his sentence. They screwed him over like 3 times. Then he pulled the Rule 35 on this dude that he was talking about, the Ron Wilson guy, and I think it's the Red Bull guy that was upset with him, saying that wasn't just some guy in the hallway that he talked to, that was his lunch buddy, and that he was basically siphoning information from him. Well, he just told you that's what the fuck he's gonna do, right? X said it. DMX said it. Trust a snake to be a snake. Trust whoever's going to do what they're going to do. Everybody. If you're a criminal, trust a criminal to be a criminal. My advice to the shorties is stay out the fucking game. The game is dead, and there's somebody like Matt. There's somebody like Jay. There's somebody like anybody else that's cooperating, that's willing to do it to you, and they don't give a shit. And they've been clear about it. They clear about it after the fact. They letting you know what the game is dead. Stay the fuck out the game. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. If Garth ever gets hemmed up, Matt will be the first on the stand. Just kidding, but not no. He'd be. I mean, with the information, if he came up with the information, hey, this is what we got. He can only testify to what he did, what he came up with in the book. Again, I dropped the link for the book in the chat. I like how Matt was talking about how he did all kind of interviews. If he got 10 subscribers, it was worth the salute. So anybody who ain't subbed up to him, go sub up to him. You know what I'm saying? Like Velez said, if he comes back next week, we'll get him another 10. Right? Listen, man. For some reason, El Tubo don't let me shine. I ain't shining around here. Right? I ain't shining around here. Let's see. Shout out JP. JP sent a super chat. I'm going to send him this back.
Jonathan Pantria sent $5. Robin, while you're at it, would you mind speaking on your men's salsa classes? Mono con los ojos tapados.
Mono con los ojos tapados.
I ain't gonna lie. When he was talking about crying in jail, I almost brought up the salsa classes. So I know you thought about it right then and there. I almost said it out loud myself, but I said, let me not interrupt the conversation. Everyone is expendable in the game, and the game is no longer. It never was, man. This loyalty, this brotherhood bullshit, man. There's betrayal in every story. Might as well stay out the game, man. Might as well stay out the game. I done dropped 1 beer. I got 2 more beers and a shot to do before I'm done here. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. We here on a Friday night.
But I wanted to do hood stuff with my friends.
All right, I plan on things dropping off here in a minute, but we're gonna continue. I'm just looking for. I want to also give y'all the link to Jay Flores' American Narco book that they're working on. The website for that. Boom. So there's the website for that. Garth doesn't want anything to do. Vernon, that's Garth. Doesn't want anything to do with that anymore. That's Tom Segura, boy. They told him, hey, cállate, relax. All right, so I'm gonna have to make some shorts out of that. Drop them on TikTok. See what's up with that million. Can we get that million? All right. Shout out Matt. Shout out Jay, man. They talk they shit. There's no loyalty in the game. Shout out Ivan Levers checking in. Shy, what up? Salutes everyone in the chat. Late but made it. Appreciate you, sir. All right. Again, it was a little rough at the beginning. All right. Again, I started, thinking I was funny. How much money you spend, though? Like, we know what they locked you up for, but what you spend, dog? What was rent looking like every month? Did you have a boat? Was you just blowing money? All right. I wanted to speak more on the bullshit that's on the internet, but I already saw his stance on it. His stance is he's okay with, see, I keep it too real for my own good. All right. Believe that shit. I could never, have an engineer and be having a regular conversation on the stream about a movie, and the engineer cut that up and drop that, and it's like, is he doing something ethically wrong? No. He's putting out a video of a guy talking about a movie, but we're in a world where the beginning context of the conversation and the end context of the conversation don't matter no more. So is he really doing anything wrong and getting them views? I could sure talk about a movie all day. You could ask me, what's your life like, Shy? Be like, man, you know, I came up working in a laundromat. I had 2 other friends that were hustlers. I had a little brother that looked up to me. You know, somewhere along the road, there was some betrayal somewhere. My brother got snatched. You know, they sent me his pinky, but everybody know, the ones that know, that's the plot for Paid in Full. You know what I mean? But that's the way the internet works right now. Everybody, if you stole a car in 1979, if you stole a 76 Buick in 79, you can have an interview on the internet. You can go viral because a light box exploded in the cable box. And you know how many war stories? That ain't even a war story. So many war stories. There's a couple that they get questions. Sacco and I forget the husband's name. And they ask him, you know, hey, how did you guys meet? And he says, man, you know, I was gambling and I won a ticket on this cruise. And I got on the cruise and I met this girl that was there and she was engaged to be married. And at some point, you know, we fell in love and the boat went down. And, you know, he just gave them the plot to Titanic. Millions of views. I recently told y'all about the guy that mispronounces or misspells something in every single video to get people to talk about it. Is he doing something morally wrong? Why am I keeping it real in my videos? Because that's just who I am. Well, that's my code. Why am I a dummy for that code? Why am I me being me? Because I would never. My engineer did some shit like that. Wait, you put me talking about the movie The Last Dragon on the internet and made it seem like it was my story? Nah, I didn't make it seem like that. I just put it out like that. Yeah, but that's what I make it. But I guess that's that rapper shit in me. Or that Chicago street shit in me. Like, nah, you ain't gonna. I ain't gonna give you nothing to be able to call me on. You know? But I would never allow that. But that's where we're at. So I didn't really get too much into that conversation because we all know that the internet is full of bullshit. You know? The internet is full of bullshit. And picking at people's human nature is what the internet does. Right? Because the people, the dumbest rocks on the internet, you'll never convince them of that. They smart as shit as far as they're concerned. Smart as shit. You know? I saw, shout out Pierre for stopping through. I saw Pierre in the chat. Shout out Peter Flores. I saw Pete in the chat for a second. What I have noticed is sometimes YouTube will say that I have too many subscriptions when I try to add channels, but other channels, they let me add. That's weird. That's real weird. What is too many subscriptions? At least he wasn't eating his totopos while talking with Matt. Nah, he was driving around and shit. Shout out to either Tom. I had it wrong. Yeah, Tom. They don't want Tom talking about that shit no more. That's just a theory, though. That's just Matt's theory. Shout out Shannon. It went very well. Congratulations, Sha. I appreciate you, Shannon. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for holding down the chat. Who all we had in here today was Patricio. And that's it. I need to go grab my cerveza. Let me play another video.
I was actually in prison with Deveroli. Right. And I wrote his memoir. That's
another thing they accused Matt of that I didn't get to talk to him about. Again, we only had an hour. I didn't know what was, gonna work and what wasn't gonna work as far as time. But they say he was stealing people's screenplays, stealing people's manuscripts. All right, let me play this while I go get my beer and the shots, okay?
Don Giulini Setentini te pone hasta el culini. Un shot, due shot.
In prison with Deveroli. Right. And I wrote his memoir, Once a Gun Runner. She was never once on time, by the way. One time he was supposed to meet me, waited there for 30 minutes, and I was like, okay. Because he always promised he'd be there. Found him in the unit, and he was in the middle of arguing with a Muslim guy who stole apples out of the prison cafeteria. And the Muslim guy, he wanted 2 stamps for 2 apples, and Deveroli wanted to give him 2 stamps for 3 apples. And I walked up, and I could hear them arguing, walking in the unit, walk over to his cell, and sat there for 5 minutes. And then after about 5 minutes, like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? And he's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, forget it. I don't want him. Yeah, you're right. And I'm like, you're supposed to meet me 45 minutes ago. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he got up and it was like, you're arguing over a stamp. I was actually in prison with Deveroli.
Right.
And I wrote.
Shout out, Shannon. What kind of beer tonight? Tonight we are still doing the Baja Blast Mountain Dew, 5% ABV. Shout out, Raven. You could have been a king in Africa and just moved here and married a restaurant owner's daughter. Damn, no. So, listen, coming to America. That could be my life. Pati, su nombre de noche. Patricio. I'm very tough. I don't like when Shy speaks with such aggressiveness. Shy speaks with aggressiveness, I get aggressive. Because who is he to speak like that? We tickled his butterfly, y'all. Shout out Miguel Lopez. Salutes, blessing everyone. Our resident Mexican Confederate. Appreciate you. Make sure y'all hit the like button on the way in, on the way out, all that shit. We chilling. JP, afterwards, I'll give you a refund on that dono so that you can play that. Unless Robin comes out and I ask him again. I plan on being here for a minute. Let's see if there's something we need to cover. Happy Friday, salutes. I'm going back in the chat, see if I missed anything up there that was dope. Minimize losses, the rest is just luck. Shout out, I saw 323G was in here, salutes. Appreciate you. Showing face. JP and Peter were on. Jay said he'd be the first one to go on Matt's podcast. Shout out, Peter said. I'm with Shy first all day. Salutes to Peter. Appreciate you. Confirmation from Batman. All right, that was a good question, Vicente. I didn't even see it. It was a lot. The chat was jumping. They were talking. What sucks is when they're on StreamYard, they can't see me. I'd like to figure that out. Yeah, hoodie season indeed. All right, man. Shout out Pierre for coming through. Don't underestimate the nerds. The nerds winning, Popeyes. And guess what? A whole lot of gangsters have turned into nerds. Isaiah Bell, where you at? Here, I'm going to play y'all that TikTok. Well, he just said it right here, but I'm going to play it for y'all anyway. But he just broke it down for you right here.
No. Hey, no, you reach.
You should make a show with Miguel breaking and entering into a Border Patrol truck. That boy go to jail, boy. He be deported like a motherfucker.
That was a heck of a stop, sir. I have a gun and I'm armed. I'll let you know. So why did you pull me over? Your inspection sticker expired last. Call Joe Biden or.
Damn, dude, mad. Danny Jones with the shorts.
So this is when he was. Do you remember when he tried out to be like I forget what the team was, the Yankees or the Cubs? You know, multiple times he's tried out to play baseball. Wants to be a baseball star. He can't make the team, but
Garth Brooks trying not to be on a baseball team? What the fuck? Y'all need to have Pierre on here on a live shot. I wanted to have him on this panel. I did. But yeah, maybe in the future we can make that happen.
Keeps donating money for them to give him a chance. Like, hey, here's $3 million to this charity. Let me try out. You know, so he goes down to, wherever, Fort Lauderdale or wherever, and he tries out. So, in one of these places, flies us the private jet in. It's parked at the airport. He's playing. A guy ends up missing, and the guy's car. Steven? So the guy's car ends up in long-term parking at the airport. I mean, pretty odd. The guy ends up disappearing here next to the stadium where he's playing, and his car ends up in the long-term parking right next to where Garth's private plane is.
Whoa.
And look, there's a bunch of them. Look, when I say a bunch, there's 200 here, right? There's 200. There's some of them, take 7 or 8 of them that are pretty, you're like, wow, that's pretty interesting that like in the parking lot across the street from the stadium here, somebody ends up disappearing. You start adding them all up. And granted, it's confirmation bias. You could do the same thing with Madonna, right? She's got 1,000 tour dates. You could obviously, I could say Madonna's a fucking serial killer and come up with just as many, I'm sure. But man, bro, some of them you're like, oh, Jesus, that's really, really odd. Like really odd.
How many of them would you say are like really, really close to being like, do you think it's like really high probability it could have been him?
I mean, I'd say.
First of all, how many total are in the book?
I want to say the combination of the two, over 200.
Over 200.
So we're talking about 120 missing persons and 90 unsolved homicides.
Okay. And out of all of those, which ones do you think
Who works for the government, Shannon? Pierre?
How many of you think are like really, 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 really high probability?
Maybe 10. And I mean stuff like Garth Brooks has a bar, Friends in Low Places in Nashville. About less than a mile away, there's a homeless person that ends up disappearing. The body's found half a mile away from Garth's bar. You know, and Garth, by the way, lives not far from there. He's got like I forget what it's called, Blue Ridge Estates or something. He's built this massive house where he and Trisha Yearwood live. Listen, there's so many. There's one where they park. There's a convoy of trucks, right, like 18-wheelers that stop at a rest stop. Garth Brooks is going from this state to this state. He has to go along.
That's what I forgot to mention. Chris Gaines. Do y'all remember that? When Garth Brooks switched to being Chris Gaines, he changed his whole persona, did like a whole album as someone else. Whole different style. Some real weird shit, man. Real weird shit. That's your boy Garth Brooks right there as Chris Gaines. I thought that was strange as shit when it happened. Whole album, whole backstory. This is weird. This is weird. Look at him. This is weird. I don't know. Somebody really see Tom Segura made Pierre and Matt dig. Now their project got to make somebody else dig until they figure it out, or they to one way or the other till they what's the word? Till they clear his name, or till he pays for all his till we send Patricio after him to arrest him, throw him in the jail.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail.
When was Chris Gaines? Chris Gaines. Let's see. No, I want to see the year. 99. He did Chris Gaines. Chris Gaines can't have like a birth date and Chris Gaines don't exist. But yeah, that was 99. All right, I'm interested in this book. I'm interested. All right, I've been trying to figure out the Kennedy assassination for a long time. Now, this Garth Brooks shit, that's funny. But who knows? Chris Gaines was really him, wilding.
This route. There are 18-wheelers that are parked at a rest stop. There's a young girl who's traveling to school. She travels the same route. She pulls over at the jet. So this is parks there, disappears. She's never seen again. Her mother calls and says, "Listen, calls the highway patrol and says, listen, she never showed up to school.
No, that Chris Gaines shit, Shannon, was in the height of his superstardom. He did some weirdo shit like that. He did that Joaquin Phoenix shit. You know? Is it Life is Theater? Fuck out of here. But he did that shit. That shit could have destroyed him. I thought it would have. It didn't do well for him, I don't think.
The next day, they find her car at the rest stop. They ask a bunch of witnesses, and the witnesses say, yeah, I remember her. She was speaking to a guy who was 6 foot tall, had brown hair, about in his mid-30s, same age Garth was at the time. And they said that guy was somehow connected to a bunch of an 18-wheeler. I think he was either in the truck or had some kind of connection. He was connected to this truck, and then the girl disappears. And you think, okay, that's pretty odd. But what's really odd is that the girl's body was found like 2 states over a week later on the side of the road on another highway that Garth's convoy had to travel to his next spot. Whoa. So super, super odd. Very odd, right?
Listen, he'd have to be a Dexter status fucking guy, and it would have to be other people involved. This ain't some shit he's pulling off by himself, not by a long shot.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
If he was some loner that nobody knew, that wasn't rolling around in a tour bus or a jet or whatever with a fucking entourage, that's a different story. But him being a superstar makes it so where he can't do it by himself. Because when is he by himself, really?
And there's a lot of them where it's just like, hey, 2 miles away from where he was performing, somebody disappeared. 4 miles away from where he was at the Grammy Awards,
right?
Somebody was found choked to death or shot. Here, like there's those.
I think Zaza
which seem
asked,
random until you.
Or Velez, one of y'all asked, what was the method? The method varied from what he's saying.
Start adding up the numbers.
And then how do the police, how is it possible that there's never been any sort of evidence or DNA linking back to him? Like how could he sort of get the police to cover for him in all of these incidents?
Shout out Danny Jones Studio. That's dope. I like that, window bay space meteor shit going on back there.
It's funny you should mention that. There's one instance where 2 people were taken hostage. So when I say taken hostage, they were, I don't know if you want to say kidnapped, whatever. They're in the car. A boyfriend and girlfriend are in a car. Someone forces them to go driving. At some point during the drive, what is he? Is he taking them out to the woods to kill the 2 of them? Is he? Who knows? But they're driving with someone in the backseat. At some point, the boyfriend gets shot. The girlfriend's driving. So the boyfriend gets shot. The girlfriend panics, pulls the car over, jumps out and runs. She gets shot several times. And they find her body, 30 yards away. She's been shot a bunch of times, several times. Then the car is set on fire. Most likely, why would he set the car on fire? He's already got a body here and a body here because there probably was DNA. So so whoever this is, they're very apt at covering their tracks. They're not leaving semen. They're not leaving blood. And if there is blood, it looks to me like they're aware of it and taking measure to try and get rid of it. And keep in mind too, a lot of these are 20 some odd years ago, 30 years. This is dates back to the 90s. So, maybe there's parks there. We did a whole video on Garth Brooks, and she's like, yeah, this is how it started. And we go through the whole process, the whole thing. So we go through it, and one of the things she mentions, and I looked into it, and this is so fucking funny. One of these people, one of Segura's fans, came up with the theory that if you take, that there's a list out there. She says there's supposed to be a list out there where somebody has taken all of Garth Brooks's tour dates, and every tour date lines up with a missing person or an unsolved homicide. Every place he's ever been. Now and I asked her, I said, is there really a list? And she said, no, there's no list. She goes, I've looked, Pete looked, like we looked. There's no list. But she said, so I started trying to make the list. And she said, and I did it for whatever she said, 5 hours, 6 hours, couple days, whatever it was. She said, and I started coming up with name after name after name. And she said, and then her husband was like, what are you doing? Like, could you get a hobby that doesn't cost us money, that's going to actually pay off?
Right.
And so I ended up saying, wow, I said, that is super interesting because, she started talking about, confirmation bias and that
So she went looking for missing persons reports that coincided with his tour dates.
Yes.
Okay.
And obviously there are. So I said, you know what? Has anybody ever written a book about this? And she said, no. She's who? She's like, I don't have the time. She's like, I thought about it. But I don't have the time to do that. And she said, besides the amount of research it would take to do that, she's like, and in the end, she's like, what's going to happen? She's like, I'm not going to prove that he's a serial killer. So what does it matter? And I was like, it's satiric though. It's funny. And she goes, yeah, I don't have that kind of time. She's got like 2 kids and a husband. And I said, you know what? I said, I have that kind of time. I said, my buddy Pete's got that kind of time. And Pete's on the spectrum. You give Pete an assignment, you're going to get some stuff. So I called Pete. I said, Pete, this is what I'm thinking. I think we look into this. And he said, oh, absolutely. We have to look into it. And so we started doing research. And we hired 2 researchers to look up. We broke up the list first of all, just to try and find all of his tour dates. There's over 1,000 of them. Not to mention Grammys, Billboard Awards, everything, all the places he's lived. He moved here, then he moved here, then he moved here. I mean, from when he grew up in is it Oklahoma? Yeah, in Oklahoma, like every place. So we're searching it, and we only did what we could find online, right? Like we're not flying people out to Oklahoma and going through records. We're doing what we can.
Yep.
And very quickly, we came up with about 120 missing persons and around roughly 90 unsolved homicides that
all coincided with location.
We did a whole video on Garth Brooks, and she's like, yeah, this is how it started. And we go,
Garth Brooks, bruh. Garth Brooks is a fucking serial terminator, allegedly. Not even allegedly. So that's it. That's the gist of that right there. All right, I dropped the link for the book in the chat. Y'all can check that out. Make sure y'all check out Matt's channel, Inside True Crime.
No. Hey, no, you rich. No.
Boy. Gotta be careful. These motherfuckers is gunning. All right, 100's up in the chat for y'all. By Pete, he's talking about Pierre, right? Yes. Yes, he is. 100's up in the chat for y'all. Let's see. See if there's anything to talk about over here. Let me see. When did let's see if we around long enough for upper echelon to bring his ass back and answer the question we had earlier from Scotland. Shout out IB on the check-in. Yo, chat power streaming here today. Salutes. New Dream Productions. Boom. Chris Gaines. The Army dismantles 5 meth labs in Culiacan and Cosala, Sinaloa. Why? Why would they do that? Who's letting them do that in the middle of a war? That sounds like one side tearing up the other side's labs, no? Wouldn't they just steal them? Shout out Robert on check-in. Appreciate you. Yeah, I don't know about that boat, bro. I don't think that boat was smuggling no dope. That was just my first instinct, though. Okay, this is the first time I feel like Zaza lost. Shout out you and Zaza. Who is Pierre? Pierre is the guy that gave us the other side of the story or of the paperwork when it came to the Big Meat situation. The guy with the glasses. So let me that'd be dope. Let's go do a Pierre video real quick. Let's see. Pull up one of these. Give me 1 second. I forgot all about the Chris Gaines. The Chris Gaines out there catching bodies and shit.
The FBI had successfully infiltrated their undercover agent. 6 weeks later, there's a fluke arrest, threw a monkey wrench into the federal investigation. I can't be in jail because they need me because I know the Mexicans. They get my other best friend's driver's license and they get my laptop. So we're dead to rights. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product, lab equipment, everything. They didn't take us in.
That's Pierre. Shout out Pierre.
Custody. The FBI was like, no, don't arrest them. We've got this much more bigger investigation. 6,000 people. You can't do that. Fundamental change.
Shout out Crime and Entertainment.
The riots in Los Angeles happened in the spring of 1992, mainly in May.
Right.
And by May, you had seen some fundamental changes in both the ecstasy market and what was then characterized as the underground club scene. You know, the underground club scene in LA had about a good 3-year run that pretty much petered out by 1991. The raves that replaced them weren't genuinely underground clubs. The promoters that were coming down from San Francisco or coming up from Orange County really took it to a very different level in the sense that they were renting public venues. And so there were raves that were being, 4,000, 5,000 people. That spring of 92, we had one in LA, 6,000 people. Well, that's not an underground club. That's at the Shrine Auditorium. Underground clubs, you're throwing them in broken down, old warehouses. Well, you got to think.
Yeah. He way more high energy than I remembered. I thought, if you see, I looked over here to see if I had this shit on 2 times speed. You know what I mean? Shout out Luis Herrera. Te lo perdiste. Wait. Everyone was doing weird things with their names back then. That's around the time Prince became a symbol. See, but Prince I could understand. They didn't have license of a symbol. They had license of the name Prince. Why? What's his face? When did so that's Pierre Zorada. When did Joaquin Phoenix become a rapper and shit? Was that around the same time? Nah, I think it was later than that. Let's see, when did he do that shit? 2022. No, that was, what? 2022? Really? No, bullshit. It was way earlier. 2010. Okay, so, but now it wasn't 99. Chris Gaines was 99. Garth Brooks out there smoking, motherfuckers. Let's see. See, he goes on and he talks about a lot of things. I don't see him talking much about his own case. Who did you say worked for the government, though, Shannon? Yeah. Chris fucking Gaines. That's pretty funny. That's the way he is. I've seen him on a few interviews. I mean, he's on his shit. It's just a funny, interesting rabbit hole, this Garth Brooks shit. But who knows, huh? I've seen crazier things. How about that fucking guy? How about that guy, the British guy, that he was like the British Mr. Rogers or British fucking bozo, and then they find out after he's gone from this plane of existence that he was a fucking psycho, crazy psychopath, PDF file piece of shit, you know? So you never know. 20 years from now, Tom Segura and Matthew Cox and Pierre Rossini vindicated for their Garth Brooks claims. I just don't see Pierre's story. Yeah, that motherfucker. Albert Flores said it. Jimmy Seville. Shout out Zoraida. I remember. Salutes. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so, y'all. We've been here 3 hours. Right? For those that missed it at around an hour in. We start with Matt, Jay. We had a little technical difficulty and a little time killing at the beginning, but we got through it. Do you know about Mr. Rogers? Come on, Shannon. Don't you fucking do it. All right? Don't you fucking do it. I've been holding out that Mr. Rogers and that motherfucking Stan Lee, you know, we're going to go out unscathed. Okay? What the fuck is the Mr. Rogers conspiracy? I'm not doing this shit right now. Shout out Luis Herrera. Ya se acabó. Vas a tener que volver a verlo. Yeah, you gotta rewind. Come on, Shannon. Come in here with the fucking Palantir and the flock cameras. And now we're on Mr. Rogers. Are you about to ruin Mr. Rogers for me? Don't you fucking do it. No, I see nothing but good things right here. Good things. Okay, I see nothing but good things here. Do not bastardize Mr. Rogers, please. What are we doing? Oh shit, this lady said he was pure evil before the widow breaks her silence on the awful truth. I mean, this lady's putting smart on his name. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? What are we talking about here? Rose-colored glasses for me? Come on, man. I also can't believe every piece of smut that somebody puts on somebody's name. Can't do that. But well, you're not telling me. What's your theory? What's going on here? Is it the lady that said he was pure evil before his passing? I don't doubt it. People get mean when they're on their way out. People get mean. Damn, they talking about Mike Beck right now? Save that for later.
I did Vlad. It's weird. He's not there. So what happens is he rents a studio. He has an iPad there. It's basically a FaceTime. Matt Cox, how are you today? You know, like he starts, he does his little thing, but you're sitting there and the camera's here. He's just to the side of the camera. First thing he said was, completely know your story. I've read all about it, read your book. 5 minutes in, I realized you don't have about it. So I said, listen, you haven't read my book because I'll just sit here and tell my story. Oh, I did get notes on it. Instead of you asking me questions, I'll just tell the story and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden he would stand up and walk away. Yeah, I'd stop.
You said Pierre did, right? That worked for the government. No, I don't know. I saw Shannon said he worked for the government, but I didn't know who she was talking about. Salutes. Hit the like button, y'all.
When Big Gip was
we're losing our audience, but the you know, they was here for what they was here for. Salutes to everybody that stick around that's here on a regular. All right, salutes to Matt and Jay for hanging out. He's not the pure old man with the sweater. All right. I need a link. Is it that one? Is it the one where the lady's like, he was awful? Tell me what I'm looking for. Let me go. Yeah, I don't got that on the soundboard. I need that, but we got this. And we got this.
Too much information and shit.
Look at this.
Bullshit. Mm-hmm.
This is America.
What else we got?
Don Giulini Setentini te pone hasta el culini. Un shot, due shot.
I'm gonna do a shot because I owe also a shot. I'm gonna do a shot and one more beer, and I'm done for the day. Alright. Gonna put smut on Mr. Rogers. Motherfuckers better come correct. If they're gonna put smut on Mr. Rogers' name, it better be. I wanna see video evidence. Again, there's gonna be people that are gonna tell you I'm a piece of shit. And there's gonna be people that tell you I'm the shit. But I will take no smut on me.
It's about what? I'm sad for those who don't feel that they are loved in order to work in this life.
Was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The show isn't unexpected. It's deeply personal. Rogers' widow revealed an awful truth. And what she shared isn't unexpected. It's deeply personal. The truth might just change how you remember America's favorite neighbor forever.
Shannon, I never forgive you for this shit.
What if the most powerful children's show in television...
I got nothing. There's nothing. You know me, I'm a cynic, man. I don't believe shit. You know what I mean? I believe everything that we were taught, everything is all bullshit. It's been a while. Give me a minute. Just tell me what to look for. I'll find it. Is it this, though? Is it the old lady talking crazy? Bro, that's AI. I don't believe it already. Is it they got a fake AI, like, voice like that?
History didn't rely on flashy graphics or loud characters, but on the strength of one man speaking directly to your soul. Let's walk through that neighborhood and explore the gentle revolution Fred started with a little show that made a massive difference.
Yeah, they gonna have to come correct, man. That ain't it. They better get the fuck out of my face. They better have proof. I want to see fucking... I want to see irrefutable proof of any smut that's going to be on Mr. Rogers' name. Miguel works for the government, or what about Miguel? Shout out Raven. Oh, Miguel works for the government? He trying to get in Nah. Shout out Shad, love you too. Nah, I'm not buying you guys. I don't want to see video proof of that, but hold on, I'm gonna throw my shoes. I'm punching the sky right now, Raven. I'm throwing punches in the air like Cuba Gooding and Boys in the Hood and shit. I mean, but that's people just be putting smut on names, so they had to really prove that one to me. I ain't heard that one. Not like that. Shannon too glad to say that shit, boy. Okay. Got to convince me. Yeah, that's AI loose. Alright. I thought I had my ear to the grindstone when it came to the smut on people's names, but I ain't never heard that one. What's next? Reading Rainbow? We're not fucking doing this shit. We are not doing this shit tonight, man. I gotta go get my shot, man. Right. We are not fucking doing this today. This shit is crazy. And anybody can say that shit. Now, that's the problem with people being allowed to say what they want and not getting smacked around, because that shit becomes lore. And then it gets to people on the internet, and then now that's his legacy because somebody said so. Now, same shit with these I didn't go out of my way to put smut on Chapo Mayo, none of their names. That shit came out in court documents. Put your tinfoil hat on, Shy. You're gonna have to for this one to be real to me. You know? Any smut of Mr. Rogers is obviously AI generated BS to distract from the Epstein files. Shout out JFL 323G was back today. They lost again. Salutes to them though. They showed face. We good. It's all right, Shannon. I've been tricked online in the past. If you ask Shannon, Shannon gonna tell you. She just told you what she think of Mr. Rogers. She told me to put on my rose-colored motherfucking glasses, man, and a big ass mask. This shit is crazy right now. All right, but anybody, one person can say it. I'm not saying Shannon. I'm saying whoever put that shit on the internet, or whoever made those allegations. One person says it, that shit stick with you forever. It's just crazy. It's just fucking crazy. But we're not putting smut on Mr. Rogers' name. Next, they're gonna tell me he was selling dope and shit. That he was a human trafficker. What? Alright, I'm gonna play this Matt Cox Con-Man reveals credit card scam video while I go get this beer and this shot, okay?
Don Giulini Setentini te pone hasta el culini. Un shot, due shot.
Do a shot.
So you want a secured credit card. So what I would do is I would get 3 secured credit cards, maybe for $300, $500, $400. So I get 3 different ones from 3 different banks, Bank of America, Chase, whoever, First Premier, and they pretty much give anybody a credit card. So I would get those credit cards and I would make the payments and keep them almost virtually paid off completely. And I would just make the payments for 6 months. Well, in 6 months, these guys would have 700 credit scores. They'd have like a 690, 710, 705. I mean, it was out of the gate, but you had to make 6 months payments on time, which is what I did. Well, obviously I built those credit histories, and I didn't build 1 or 2, I built dozens. So I had dozens of these guys. So you want a secured credit card. So what I would do is I would get 3 secured credit cards, maybe for $300, $500, $400. So I get 3 different ones from 3 different banks, Bank of America, Chase, whoever, First Premier, and they pretty much give anybody a credit card. So I would get those credit cards and I would make the payments and keep them almost virtually paid off completely. And I would just make the payments for 6 months. Well, in 6 months, these guys would have 700 credit scores. They'd have like a 690, 710, 705. I mean, it was out of the gate, but you had to make 6 months payments on time, which is what I did. Well, obviously I built those credit histories, and I didn't build 1 or 2, I built dozens. So I had dozens of these guys. So you want a secured credit card. So what?
Bro, that's some real motherfucking lizard brain focus. Mad, I'm telling you, post-it notes all over the place. Hey, Sha, I'm not sure if you talked about it on this live, but have you checked the new Oakland video with Jay? I caught it in the periphery. I haven't looked at it. I'll look at it right now. Problem is, I don't feel like, what's the word? Translating anything. You know what I mean? But we're going to have to do a short with our regulation, Olympic standard, Illinois State Athletic Commission shot glass. All right. Yeah, we can look at that. Let's see. It's in the Discord, right? It's not just free credit cards to keep them under 30%. Sure, I'm not sure if y'all talked about it. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. I got the AI voice on this motherfucker though.
Gourmet for less at Aldi makes you feel extra. It's an Aldi thing.
That aren't understood, and he's going to also been talked about during the conference that
We're gonna have to speed this motherfucker up if we're covering this shit right now. Real talk. Speaking the basics, the dark web supplies endless income. I need some endless income, bro. Alright, I need to get in that dark web and see what the fuck is going on in there. Just kidding. Boom. Shut. Allegedly. The dark web. Right, salute y'all. Shot.
Don Giulini Setentini te pone hasta el culini. Un shot, due shot.
What got there? One beer and I'm done, so. See what the fuck they talking about here. We speeding this shit up, though. We go 1.5 on that ass.
Howdy, my friends. Welcome to another
He said howdy.
No, mommy's wait.
I seen what happened to the Silk Road. That wasn't endless. That shit ended pretty abruptly. It was like the road was silk, and then that turned into concrete, and then shit. Shit road.
Episode of your podcast, Okran League. Today we're going to talk about something that's been on everyone's lips, for example, in very serious news programs and, worst of all, it's also been talked about during the conference that the President of Mexico gives every day. In these conferences and news programs, quite a few outrageous things have been said and, according to them, they've invited non-experts on the subject who, in my opinion, aren't, and that's why I took on the task of doing it myself, but I do bring you a true expert, both in the world of Okran and in legal proceedings. Yes, without further ado, I'm telling you that today I invited my friend Margarito Flores from the Flores twins to help us and explain everything that's been said. There are quite a few things that aren't understood, and he's going to help us make...
See, they keep doing this with the Flores twins shit. That's disingenuous, man. Keep it fucking thorough. But no, you don't have to. You can just lie. You can just say that they're both there. You could put the twins, or you could just put that shit up there. Nobody cares. I'm the only one sitting here fucking giving a shit about shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all this clearer. So I present to you the interview or the conversation that we had. Enjoy the conversation, pay close attention, there's always something new to learn. I appreciate your support and I'll leave you with the chat. It's a pleasure, my friend Margarito, to have you here again, greeting you and an honor, as I say, to have you here again. Before we start with the topic, I would also like to talk a little bit about what projects you have at the moment, how things have gone, how things are going, what can you tell me? Oh, yes, thanks again for the invitation and for having me here. Greetings also to all your people who watch you, to all your fans and all the people who come to watch those videos. It's been a good time, right? I'm busy, you know, with everything I'm doing right now, with my conferences. I'm doing a lot of conferences right now with police officers, you know. And I've already started on the book that's coming out soon in the first months of 2026. The topic is going to be called American Narcos, which I think suits my channel and me well. And also with the documentary we're working on and the TV series with this guy, we're working on that, but we're busy with those projects and let's see how many more come in the future. Yes, the important thing is to keep working, moving, I imagine. And I'm glad that things are going well for him and that he's moving forward with his projects. Yes, thank you, thank you. And we hope, you know, that from there, with the family and also working on my daily stuff, but thank God we're here and we're continuing to move forward.
See, fuck all that. Miss me with the pleasantries. Former Kingpin reacts. We get right to it.
Okay, listen, I'm going to move on to what we're going to do. As I was saying, read the news and everything that's been said in the media regarding this agreement with Mr. Yoma. And if you have anything to add or interrupt me, feel free to do so that you can explain more about the subject, since you obviously have more knowledge than we do. And well, as I was saying, Yoma lasted the Telcar of Sinaloa, which for decades sent tons of kilograms of dangerous gastroenterology, including Fanta. Here, for those who don't know and if you haven't seen
gastroenterology, huh?
The videos, listen, we're referring to Fanta with something that has to do with thread. Yes, yes, yes. There I hope I can make myself understood, more than anything. Also Polvo, which I think is easier to understand, the United States ordered ruthless acts of violence to protect the Telcar of Sinaloa and maintain its power. Ismael Zambada Garcia, also known as Yoma, is also said to have pleaded guilty today to being the principal leader of a continuing criminal organization, the Telcar de Sinaloa, in addition to the Mensch-influenced and corrupt organization's charges, and organized the so-called RICO law.
And basically he was telling him that he's changing the word Fanta for, you know, that brocane. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what he's talking about, the brocane. Because evidently his channel is scrutinized like mine. But again, I don't see that in other big channels. I don't understand. You know, they look at that as entertainment. They look at this as journalism. Ain't nobody's journalist. I proved that today. I don't blame you, Shai. Translating draining and no fun. Yeah, especially off 3 beers and a shot.
Today's hearing was held before United States District Judge Brian M. Cogan. Upon sentencing, Zambada Garcia faces a mandatory minimum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole for leading a continuing criminal organization and a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole for the RICO charge. As part of the plea agreement, Zambada Garcia also agreed to a forfeiture judgment of $15 billion. Zambada Garcia was previously charged in indictments filed in the Eastern District of New York and the Eastern District of Texas, as well as the District of Columbia, the Northern District of Illinois, the Southern District of California, and the Central District of California.
They're smashing his ass in every district. Shout out Zaza. La gets lost in translation. You got that good Spanish? Bring that shit, man. You want to translate?
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
The plea agreement to the charges in the indictment is the result of a joint proceeding by the United States Attorney's offices in Brooklyn and Miami and the Criminal Division's Narcotics and Hazardous Food Section. Pursuant to a plea agreement, Zambada Garcia has accepted transfer of the WDTX indictment for plea and sentencing in the Eastern District of New York. Zambada Garcia will therefore answer to the criminal conduct in both indictments in the Eastern District of New York. The remaining indictments will be dismissed at sentencing. The indictment charged Zambada Garcia with, among other things, being the principal leader of an McCree enterprise that was in violation from January 1989 through January 2024. The WDX indictment charged Zambada Garcia with, among other things, conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud and fraud conspiracies, and violations of state law for his conduct between January 1, 2000 and April 11, 2012. Zambada Garcia's rise to power began with the creation of Telcar and culminated in his arrest in July 2024. Formerly known as the Mexican Federation, Telcar is a drug trafficking organization based in Sinaloa, Mexico, that since approximately the late 1980s has imported deadly quantities of commodities, including but not limited to powder, synthetics, glass, and Fanta, into the United States and laundered billions of dollars in profits from Telcar to Mexico. Telcar's operations were initially focused on distributing cocaine based on cooperative agreements and close coordination with South American sources of supply and distribution networks.
That's what the translation says. Translation says he's saying Fanta.
This changed in the 2000s when the Colombians, seeing increased law enforcement activity, began to abandon their distribution businesses in the United States in favor of Mexican OCRANs investing in powder shipments at wholesale prices that they then distributed in the United States. As a result, Mexican OCRANs and Telcar began to play a more integral role in transporting cocaine from Colombia to the United States. And through this.
There, you know what? Well, we're listening to the words of the government, and just so you know that all those words that you read earlier were put to court, right? For the judge or for the media?
Ah, Yoma's lawyers. All the lawyers are reading every word and they're negotiating which words, right? What phrases and what is being made guilty of, and that's what happens when you're going to negotiate this, a culta plea, right? It's that he's being made guilty. When the United States and this government do this, you can imagine, they want the worst to be heard because they want to look at themselves, right? Oh, good. And they want to be exactly like he's going to be responsible for all those crimes that they have evidence of, or they imagine that. This and that's precisely what the Colombians say. Many times the government thinks it's like a deal, right? That people sit down and negotiate, that the Colombians sat down with the drug traffickers, with the people from low and negotiated the distribution and all that in the United States, but clearly it's not like that, but they just put that issue so that the public and the laws, the courts understand, right? What it's about, but at the same time they're saying that the Yoma, right? And they sound like that right?
Oh no, this shit that
they changed the business so that they would know that he had more power than any regular.
The way Jay talks fucks the AI all up, boy.
With the people from low and negotiated the distribution and all that in the United States, but clearly it's not like that, but they just put that issue so that the public and the laws, the courts understand, right?
I think he's making reasons of why, and I haven't had the opportunity to ask him that. The reasons for what Yoma said in front of the court. Because if you ask me, if you're telling everybody that you've been paying politicians, if you're telling everybody you've been doing this and this and that, get into details or not, you putting it out there.
What it's about, but at the same time they're saying that the Yoma, right? And they sound like that right? They changed the business so that they would know that he had more power than any regular person. And when we're talking about the CCE and the RICO, these are the two heaviest charges that can be brought against you in an American government position. The CC is known as the Eastern Cape Kingpin's Law, right? This status, the Kingpin status, is precisely for people like him.
Esa cargo lleva hasta...
Let me try to do this shit for a little bit. Let's see if it works.
No, el CC es conocido como la ley del capo, ¿no?
Sí.
El estatus del capo, que viene siendo precisamente para gente como él.
He said he's talking about the Kingpin status, which was made for people specifically like him, like Yoma.
Esa cargo lleva hasta la cadena perpetua y también un cargo de la pena de muerte.
That charge comes with life or termination.
Sí.
Si tiene violencia. Son los
if it has violence. Y'all think he had violence? I think he had violence. A lot of it.
Los dos más pesados que puede tener una persona en las leyes de Estados Unidos. Eso también
Those are the two biggest sentences somebody in the U.S. can get.
Al Pocha también le cargaron con esos mismos cargos.
Pocha, they did him with the same charges.
La diferencia es que al Pocha lo
The difference was
con la ley es que no le podían hacer esos cargos, no le podían dar la pena de muerte. Y ahí lo arrestaron en Estados Unidos, ¿no? Y no.
They arrested Chapo in Mexico, so they couldn't give him that unaliving sentence. But Yoma, being brought here, that shit was on the table.
Y no tienen los mismos acuerdos de extradición que tuvo el Pocha. So,
he don't have the same extradition benefits that Chopa had. Pocha had.
Es una de las razones que ahorita estás leyendo eso, que por qué se hizo culpable.
Sí.
Una de las razones, me imagino que puede ser, es que
So when we're talking about what are the reasons that he pled guilty, one of the reasons can be
quitan esa pelea. Y en mis
if he pleads guilty, they take that fight out of there, that fight for termination sentence.
El gobierno americano, alguien como el Yoma fuera la persona perfecta para irse atrás la pena de muerte.
Because he was the perfect person for them to go after with the unaliving sentence.
En un caso así.
Ok, pues muchas gracias por aclarar el punto. Vamos a continuar con
Thank you for clearing up the point. Let's continue.
Con la noticia para ya terminando.
With the news.
Pues quiero saber de mejor manera su opinión, una opinión más completa de como le dije.
I want to understand your opinion.
Dije al principio de alguien que vivió algo parecido, es cierto, como nos dice usted. Nos hacen ver que, porque así debe de ser, que estos cargos que usted me comenta casi están específicamente hechos para personajes como él, para los jefes, para los líderes.
Same, like you're telling me, these kind of charges are made for people like him.
Los más altos en una organización criminal.
The hired guys, the top guys.
¿No?
Sí, exactamente eso. Sí, ahorita ya terminando, seguimosle y...
Sí. Y como iba, bajo el liderazgo de Zambada García, el Telcar también se expandió recientemente hacia la producción y el ficotra de Fanta, incluyendo la compra de precursores químicos de la Fanta a empresas chinas y la producción de miles de Losky de Fanta en laboratorios, tanto en zonas rurales como en las principales ciudades de México, para su distribución en Estados Unidos. Desde la expansión del Telcar a Estados Unidos, sus redes de distribución también han apoyado iniciativas de lavado de dinero que han devuelto al
He's talking about all the charges, all the money laundering, all the ending up, you know, in America with the business. This is a bunch of the same shit we cover here, y'all.
Telcar miles de millones de dólares en
I wish these guys that disguise their voice, pick a higher pitch voice so we understand you better, bro. Stop trying to sound tough.
ganancias ilegales generadas por la venta de gasro en Estados Unidos. El aumento de las ganancias permitió que las operaciones del Telcar desarrollaran una red de transporte de narcóticos a gran escala que utilizaba medios de transporte terrestres, aéreos y marítimos, lo que finalmente llevó al Telcar a enviar tontas de polvo desde Sudamérica a través de Centroamérica y México hasta llegar finalmente a
Yeah, we're getting nowhere here, bro. We know this
este
shit.
Trump
We'll ask this shit to Jay ourselves. I don't want to translate that shit. The AI shit in the bed. It is what it is. We can ask the horse what we think about that situation. We haven't had the chance to ask him because, you know, he bailed on us today. All right, salutes. Hunters up in the chat for y'all. Boom. Hope everybody's having a good Friday night.
So it's now the Jewish mob.
I think we're going to shut it down for the night. We've been here 3 hours and 40 minutes. Your boy's a little spent. Unless we got anything else to address, we're going to kick rocks. All right, hundreds up in the chat for y'all. I appreciate y'all for hanging out tonight. Salutes to everybody that came in new. Make sure you sub up, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. I'll be cutting up clips from the Matthew Cox, J. Flores conversation and putting that out ASAP. I want to quit early enough. You know, sometimes YouTube waits to the next day. So I had everything running smoothly. I didn't run TikTok today because I didn't want to risk the stream. We had 0 drop frames tonight. But I forgot to hit the record button before the conversation happened. So I'm going to have to wait till YouTube processes for me to download the video. Sometimes they allow you to download it right away around a certain time point. But after 4 hours, they make me wait till tomorrow. I like to edit that stuff right now instead of dealing with it tomorrow. But we'll see how that works. And we'll go from there. Who was it? Y'all saw that band? Some band used, I guess, AI of Chalino Sanchez and had him in their video. They wildin'. All right, I appreciate y'all for hanging out, doing hood rat stuff with
But I
your
wanted
friends
to do
today.
hood rat stuff for my friend.
All right, shout out to Shannon. Shannon done put smut on Mr. Rogers' name, so now I'm gonna have to go on a Mr. Rogers rabbit hole. Salutes to Shannon though. Shout out to Pooh. Shout out Pierre Rossini. Shout out Velez, Vernon Himes, Adrian Torres, Shannon, JP, Tone Loke, I appreciate you. Zoraida, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Shannon, thank you. Yar was in the building. Tone Loke, appreciate you. Zaza. Alright, Vicente was up in here earlier. Salute to him. 323G was up in here earlier. 298 was up in here earlier. Shout out Your Vid Sucks. Lou Her, appreciate you. Finish this. Again, the pool. Velez. Ivy. My brother Oso was in here earlier. Shout out Think Like a Kingpin. Shout out Jay Flores. Shout out Matthew Cox. 298. Shout out Yayo. Happy birthday. My brother Oso. 298. Shout out Jose Amado was in the building. Miguel was in the building. our resident Mexican Confederate. Shout out Raven. Appreciate you. Deb Heiser was in the building. Dede was in the building. Salute to Dede. JP. Shout out Patricio. We tickle Patricio's butterfly. He's soft. Shout out Ivan Livas. Eddie Jimenez. APB out on Eddie Jimenez. Isaiah Bell never answered my question. If you have to come here and ask, and if you're asking for a good reason, like a noble, like a you know, a non, you're not checking me and where you at, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that's cool, but it's kind of obvious. You know? Everybody knows where I'm at. So I always ask that question. Well, where you at? You want to tell me? Okay. Shout out Robert. Ivy. Luis Herrera. Shout out Garth Brooks. Shout out Albert Flores. Boom, hands up. Appreciate y'all. I'm multitasking, trying to listen, looking for that link. I will drop in the Discord. Don't drive yourself crazy. I'll go down that rabbit hole. We'll figure it out. But being that it's so hard to find it, just lets me know. It didn't have no traction. Shout out IB. Great Friday live. As always, Shy, thank you for all your hard work and giving us all this free fire content. Thank you to the twins for their time and Matt for coming on the channel. Salutes to you, Zoraida. I appreciate you. All right, salutes JP wherever he's at. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night. I'm gonna finish this. Three beers in the shot. I think that's what it was. Salute to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Bless. Thank you, sir. With that said, I will holla. Peace.